Okay.
Who's playing a game?
No, sorry.
Slow.
I
Kyra.
swear it's
Oh,
not me
never
this
mind.
time.
What's
Sure,
up,
stop
guys?
playing the
Welcome to
game.
another Astrom Cross podcast. My name is Kai. I'm here with Ursa, and we have some invites today. I have Cairo here,
Yo, what's up?
Mango.
You missed me.
No, I don't. And
Oh.
Sloth.
Yo.
All right, and then
So we have
Okay.
some s- we were supposed to be in a podcast yesterday, but we did not. We couldn't go live, so
yeah.
we brought them here today. They have some stuff they want to say yesterday, so maybe they can say them here today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Um, I also have some stuff related to my channel, and if you guys wants to say anything about yours, you're welcome to. So,
Okay.
I don't know. Let's get this thing started. So,
What are you talking
say what?
Can I be the
about?
first to say that all children must
Oh
be
God.
strangled?
Wait, what? What did you say?
That all children what?
grab your big meaty hands, just put it around the child's neck and chuck it.
And shuck it like corn. That,
Go set
that's
up,
terrible.
and then fucking.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
there we go. My first
That-
40,000.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
So have you ever seen the meme where the guy's like playing with the lady's kid and it's like, "Oh, your kid can be a model," and she's like, "Really? A model airplane?" And just throws it.
Oh, that's messed up.
amazing.
Oh my goodness.
That's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what I thought about.
I'll
Like the
negate with
Ice Age
Julio.
baby. You know how everyone wants to punch its stupid face. Every child to me is the Ice Age baby.
Wow.
There.
All, every time I walk out in the street, all I see is Ice Age baby.
Oh goodness.
So I have the stream just in the background, and
Say,
all I'm hearing is Urza talk about model airplanes.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know much about model airplanes. I mean, I tried to grab my friend's kid and throw it, but she wouldn't let me.
Wow. That's wow.
So, yeah, it's all the experience I have with model planes.
Okay.
all right. I don't know, guys. Do you want to? Oh, that looks nice. The Eidolon. Do you guys wants to? First of
Hate
all,
on.
what were you talking? What were you wanting to say about yesterday? I'm pretty sure I know the topic, but
I said all I needed to say.
you did. I didn't hear
Well,
anything.
he was talking about when he was saying to strangle the kid.
Exactly. That's all
I
the
know.
information I need to get out there.
I know. Kira wanted to talk about something about curve and card games or something like that.
Curving
Yeah.
cards. What is that?
Oh, curving car games.
Yeah, we should bring that up like later in the podcast. We gotta work our way up to like that stuff.
All right. So what we starting with?
All right, then I will start with what we'll do with this podcast in the you know the in this year.
Okay.
Um,
Hmm.
so for starters, this is our first podcast. Want to apologize.
Mhm.
This was supposed to be like weeks ago. My computer broke, and I had to fix it. I had to pay 400 from my rib. So uh, it was hard. Anyways,
Yeah.
I got my computer now, and we already started. What we will do is we will do a podcast every 2 weeks. However, one of the podcasts, what we want to do is we want to do a how to play, in which we will take a game and simply teach how to play to our viewers or listeners. Um, Another option that we also have is lore. We will take lore from my game, or and we will talk about the lore, and we will present you with some cards and explain how the cards fit in the lore and stuff like that. And the third one is showcase previews and reviews. So we'll take one podcast and we will take some cards and review them, and not just from my game. This is from every game. Review them and maybe showcase, present how the cards work with other combos and stuff like that. And I guess that's it for the podcast. Between the podcast, what I will do is I will every week between one of the podcasts, I will post a video, maybe something generic, maybe something about the rules, or maybe a showcase about the cards, or an unboxing. Um, so I want to do this every 2 weeks instead of every week because last year we tried to do. There were some games we had to left behind because there was too much information, too much preparation, specifically with
Mhm.
Mush King. It was. What was the game?
No, it was Maple.
Maple Story. Yes, the Maple Story card game is pretty hard to get into, and the rules. There's a lot of rules. So
Wait, there was a
How
card
many
game?
rules?
yes,
Yeah.
Is there
Wait, what?
like how many Kellogg's cereal branded cereals are the rules out of 10?
um, for what they say, the rules are like.
Honey Nut Cheerios.
Now, now those really make my dick tingle.
Bro.
Okay, yeah.
Oh,
We're
Number
fi-
two.
Chill.
I'm
we
sorry. I
okay. We
forgot.
screwed
I
now.
already
Alright,
forgot. I'm sorry.
strike two.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I
Yeah,
already
I'm
forgot.
sending your address on this podcast. You know that?
No, please don't. I oh
Wow, imagine
god, like
forcing your debt onto a
my family and I
16-year-old.
have an issue with money as it is.
Oh, it
Please
sounds like
don't.
China, so it's whatever.
Now you see why I'm staying quiet.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Imagine forcing your debt on a 16-year-old.
yeah. Okay,
That's
I'm
horrible.
putting all your address
All
in
right,
here.
What time to leave?
instead of the evil D
Thunder.
word, I shall say PP instead.
Yeah.
That's
PP
worse.
in-
No,
How is
that's good.
saying
That's good.
PP worse?
Okay, let's
No
go.
PP left on
Do you
that
want me
move.
to say
He
pickle?
struggled.
That's better.
No, people,
Say
we
pickle the
cannot
pickle.
talk about Jesus.
I want to talk about Jesus.
Our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. He died for us on our cross.
Our Lord
But,
and Savior? You mean your Lord and Savior?
but,
Wow.
is
No,
he
Mine is-
real?
we are not talking about Jesus.
My saviors are the M&Ms from the M&Ms commercials, especially the red one.
Anyway, back to the topic. So, um, anyways, I forgot. Oh yeah, yeah, the games. So we want to, in the last season of the podcast, we tried to, do some how to play, but
Ooh,
they were complicated, or we don't have
you have
all the rules.
seasons.
So, well, for years, look, it's 2019 now. This is 2020. This is the second season. Yeah.
Oh,
Now,
Mhm.
fancy.
Very cool.
so,
It's my ovaries
um,
burst.
for that reason, we want to do this every maybe 2 weeks, which is not. We're not gonna do the how to play every 2 weeks. It will be maybe every 1 month, 1 month and a half. But we will have a podcast, another podcast, related. So
Okay.
Yeah.
this is what we want to do with the podcast, at least on this year. Um, my game just released, Astrom Cross just released a second deck that will be for next week. It will be able on the Game Crafter. So if you guys are into it, you can go to the
That
game
was,
crafter and take a
that was
look
the
at the deck.
third one.
And I don't know. What about you guys? You have anything you want to say or about your game?
Uh,
Any progress? Anything you want to do in the future? Anything?
Well, right now, my game is I'm just kind of trying to rework it to make it work a bit better. Like, I guess I could say that right now, at least for me, the game isn't fun and it also seems a bit overwhelming. But I think that's my fault because I put too many abilities in the first set and on too many cards, especially on cards that I don't really need that many.
All
You
right.
know what I
So
mean?
yeah.
So
So right now,
mhm.
what you're doing is simplifying the game a little bit and making it support for the first set.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
How about you, Cairo?
Yeah, so my game recently reached the like 50 card mark. So means I'm halfway done with my first set. Haven't made any videos yet, but I do plan on doing that in the future. So yeah, it's just uh I've been working on that and playing other people's games too, so
All
not
right.
much with me.
All right. Sloth, you have anything?
My game's dead. My
All
game's dead.
I
Like
mean,
I've
yeah,
not touched it.
What about Pizza?
Bizarre. That's the game I'm talking about.
bizarre.
Oh, it's already dead.
Like
No, wait.
bizarre bin.
But you had such a good concept though,
I
like
know.
capitalism in hell.
I
That's
mean,
such
in
a good
In
hell.
idea.
heck?
In
You mean in
hell.
Yeah,
heck?
So
yeah.
he was gonna teach people politics.
He was gonna teach demons politics.
Politics, the card game.
Pretty
it
much.
was more so of a parody of like working in an office in like capitalistic society. I got the idea
Hmm,
after watching an interview with Jonan Vasquez, the creator of Inclusive, and I was like, ah,
very
yes,
cool.
I too rather wait, no, English. I do lather myself in the teenage angst of the early 2000s that I do enjoy, and that's kind of what sparked the game. Ah, oh my
Young
god,
kids in their baggy pants in their Linkin
I
Park.
dropped my AirPods.
Yo, I hear Linkin
That is
Park
truly
back in the
tough.
day, so stop it. Stop it.
I never really liked Linkin Park, but I did really
Get
like
out
their
of this
original
podcast
Yo,
right
song.
yo,
now.
yeah. Get off
That's
the
feeling
server.
Yeah,
when
what do
you
you mean you didn't
realize,
like Linkin
No,
Park?
I refuse to skedaddle.
I mean, newer Linkin Park
oh
is
my goodness.
eh,
Ah, no,
but then again,
I mean, the newer
Yeah,
Linkin Park
musicians,
is
they want to
dead.
try stuff different. Say
yeah,
what?
The
yeah.
newer Linkin Park is dead, but
Oh, yeah, I don't think they're
Yeah,
gonna like continue music, are they?
no,
They're
no,
not gonna try to look for a new singer.
they shouldn't. They
I mean,
shouldn't.
they all have different
yeah, they
things.
really shouldn't.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mike Shinoda is. I know he's focusing more on rap, I believe.
Machinora sorry. Should focus
Wow.
on the on the what was the
For minor,
yeah, for minor.
Was for minor.
that's Shinoda's rap group.
Yeah.
He has a rap group. Hold on, let me look this up.
That doesn't sound like it's for minors.
That
No,
other
Hmm,
than
that's
for,
pretty
that,
cool.
fourth minor.
I don't
F-O-R-T.
I don't think that he as a rapper is as good, that.
Also, what
Oh,
about
he's
you,
Hmm.
Urza? What about your game?
um. I've only had like 12 cards
I see.
And he haven't
because
show any.
I'm a bad artist, so I haven't drawn absolutely nothing.
That
I
is
do
true.
I will be the
I
judge of
think
that.
Orange is let me talk to Orange. I don't know if
like I have all the mechanics down, so it's a big step forward.
Show me thine artwork, and I shall be the
Silence,
judge.
you filthy
Have
dog.
guys seen stick figures done by kindergarten?
No,
It's worse
because
than
I
that.
most of the kids I encounter, I knock their teeth in.
Have you seen Minecraft art?
Yes, and they're quite beautiful.
Wait,
Yeah,
what about Minecraft? I heard Minecraft.
Minecraft art
That
belongs next to
feeling.
the Mona Lisa
Oh my
compared to what
goodness.
I draw.
I
bro.
feel like the more I
Well,
say I hate children, people are gonna believe me.
yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean, I believe you. Like,
that's until
I
you get
can't see
married and
you,
have a
That
kid.
kid and
feeling
kick
when the
them.
Great Depression was 90 years ago.
Huh?
Well,
I
actually, it
mean,
was like
that's
100 years
crazy,
now.
but I don't remember
In
asking.
in 10 years, it'll be the anniversary. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Wow. Wait,
Kipo
so
Nipo says I'm about to click the
Centriversary?
flag thing.
That's weird.
You about
No,
to
he's
what?
not. I stopped him.
Kipo says he's going to click the flag thing.
I'll flag the video. Silence
Oh,
you hug.
don't do it.
I think it's because of slow.
No, no, no. I'm a saint.
Yeah, sure you
Your
are.
I am
turn.
a saint compared to the rest of you heathenous hog.
Well,
I need to stop.
He's not
That
wrong.
feeling when somebody asks you to their deck list and you don't consent, but they tell you their deck list anyway.
I mean, I think competitive, you got to tell them the deck list regardless.
No, I hate when you're playing a game of Astrom Cross and some dude from East Asia watches you post your deck list.
And then
Yeah.
counter builds the deck.
Imagine
Yeah.
knowing how to play
No,
Astro
they
Cross.
they build the deck. They want to build the deck.
I
Like
No,
don't
they
want
wanted
them to build my deck.
yeah,
they
he
wanted to
built.
make the exact same deck.
Yeah, he was just writing in the piece of paper. I mean, that's what he say. He was just writing in a piece of paper
Mhm.
what he
Oh,
wants
he
to do.
was meta in the meta.
Yeah.
That's so
Yeah.
meta.
That feeling when you only play artifacts in Yu-Gi-Oh because you know that it's the only deck that strictly counters the meta.
That moment when Urza is the only person in Astrom that Cross that I've seen that can actually make an all female deck look
Me
really,
neither.
really good.
And really use it well.
And I don't have all the
Well,
support yet. Just wait till I get all the support.
He just understands the waifus, man.
Yep,
hmm.
I understand them.
That
They
feeling
talk
when
to me.
you low-key get thrown shade at.
You mean every day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The life I chose.
All right, so anyways,
Mhm.
another thing I forgot to mention is that we also want to do some interviews in here. Um
Oh no. Was it a drug test?
Wait, what?
why?
Did you receive the container?
Wait, whoa, whoa, whoa! That went over my head. What?
It's okay, no, no. Just continue. Okay, I'll be
Carry on,
quiet. I
carry on. Never
promise.
mind.
No,
Yeah,
I
continue,
promise.
continue.
yeah, I'm just saying, every once in a while we want to do uh, uh, um some interviews with you guys, the play the I mean the creators, and tell us about your game. How is your game doing? So anyway, also another thing is we are also doing a tournament that we wants to next month. We want people to join. Um, Prices will be on the server, not now. We
Mm,
haven't decided what we will give as a prize, but um, they will be worth at least $25. We don't know if we will give money or
The
the
ultimate number.
huh
Nothing. Go.
very cool, very cool.
or we will give something else, but still, um, winners will also get and this is the last time we will give them away. Copies of Coraline, which is
I
the
gotta win.
which is the
I gotta win.
promo from last season,
Just
and
I'm just gonna win to take it away from y'all.
Oh wow.
and
What a
this
gift.
season
Continue, continue,
we
continue.
will
Mhm.
have
Is,
childhood icon. Everyone who is in the tournament, I mean not everyone, sorry.
is that
The
MXR?
last three will get one of them. The first three.
Wow, Mango, I can't believe you posted that.
What he
Anyways,
post? Yeah, just in case. The podcast general is only can only be watched by us. So if you're gonna
Hmm.
post anything that is
yes, I know that. I know
all
that.
right, just in
I'm
case,
not that evil.
Yeah.
Mango said,
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know, Mango.
I
I
don't
I
don't
don't
know.
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 Yeah.
I'm not a bufo if that's what you're thinking.
Funny.
no comprende.
Wow.
No, me neither.
Good. That's good.
I don't get
I get it. It's just
I
not
never
funny.
got the buffo joke.
I know you,
The
you
joke is
never
that
will.
Bufo's a neck beard.
Ooh. Wait. Hold
Okay,
up.
Let's
boomer.
continue. Let's
Yeah.
continue.
Glance that towards me or the card?
Both. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, I shave now. Come
Look,
on.
let's continue.
I, he said I can't now. That's amazing.
Okay.
So I don't know. I mean, that's it. That's all I have to say. You guys, let's talk about what Kiro wanted to say.
Bakugan.
All right. So we can so like discussing curve and card games.
Okay, what is a curving card game?
So like the curve in your card game is like because most card games have some type of cost. Yu-Gi-Oh's a weird exception to that, but most other card games have some sort of cost, and the higher cost cards are inherently better than lower cost cards, as they should be. However, in some games, you have high cost cards
Trash.
that are
It's
like
called.
better for the same cost than a low cost card would be if you paid. I mean, if you played like that same amount uh,
Mhm.
of low cost. So if you had like two 4/4s for four with no effect, and then you have like an 8/8 for eight that also has like some like pretty decent effect added on. Uh, so like stuff like that. That would be an example of curve. And in some games, people don't necessarily work their curve out. I mean, yeah, they don't exactly make their curve correctly.
All right.
Uh, an example of this, no shade being thrown, would be Sinfonite's game Cogs of War. Currently, the way that his game works, the curve is too intense because like low cost cards in his game would never have a chance at killing a high cost card, even if you had multiple low cost cards with a high cost card,
All right.
simply because of just how his game works, where you discard stuff with a certain level, and then you can play something with a level equal to that total, kind of like synchro summoning, but discarding. It's kind of weird.
All right.
But yeah, that results in people being able to play all like high cost decks. Although nobody's actually tested his game, not that I know of. But just from looking at its mechanics, you can see that this is obviously going to be a problem once people do actually start playing the game.
That kind
So
of
yeah,
seems like it would have a lot of problems with never having anything in hand, like options and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
he
yeah,
actually he said that he is creating cards. He haven't tweak any card. So basically he he's just creating and once he finish
mhm.
all his card, he's gonna test them and quick and
Yeah.
and fix
It's
them.
kind of weird.
Um Still, I know what you're saying. But
Hmm.
his game works exactly like Final Fantasy card game works. Um,
Hmm.
Now, like I say, it all depends when he start to fix the cards. Because right now, I know what you're
Hmm.
saying, and
Yeah.
he have some high costs that are basically technically impossible to kill by low
Yeah.
cost. So
Hmm.
I know what you're saying. But his game works exactly like the Final Fantasy one, and in the Final Fantasy one,
Hmm.
the you don't want to discard a high cost to play another high cost because um they are easily killed. These
Yeah.
cards are very easy to
Fragile.
kill, so
Hmm.
you will be losing your creature, your whatever it is that you summon that turn. Um,
Yeah.
Also, there is no limit on what you play. So that means on the first
Yeah.
turn you can discard your entire hand and play your entire hand, which
Mm-hmm.
is weird. But then again, you have to think
Yeah.
about what you're gonna play on the next turns, because once your field is wiped, you're dead.
Yeah.
You will draw one card and you will be stuck with that card. That means on the next turn you will receive all the damage of whatever it is that the player summoned.
True. But
So
uh, at the same time, like a counterpoint to that is that if you're playing a lot of low cost cards, then you have to use more cards in your hand in order to play that high cost card. So that's why I would say that a high cost, like an all high cost deck, would be just a better option because in order to play those high cost cards in conjunction with low cost cards, you might end up using like four cards in your hand instead of just two to play the same card.
the problem in there is that for what he said, for the rule he says, you have to get rid
Mm-hmm.
you have to get rid of the cards first.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe the best option is to have a bunch of low cost, because you will have to get rid of all of them in order
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
deal damage to the player. Um, Still, I understand what you're saying. Basically,
Mm-hmm.
you can have a high cost, and that will be impossible to kill, and then play a bunch of low cost, to just to populate the field, and
Yeah.
that will be your game. But
Is damage retained in his game?
no, no.
Oh wow.
I mean, I don't know how it works.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, if it
I,
works with by stocking on damage, um,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. He will have to get like counters or something, because I've seen some of those cards with six life.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
so if you take one damage, you will have to like create some
Yeah.
kind of counter to put on the creature or something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
So
I want to ask this though, because you said this game works exactly like Final, well, kind of like Final Fantasy.
yeah.
When you're discarding cards to pay for things, is the value the level of the card itself, or is there like in Final Fantasy you discard a card and that counts as like 2 mana or something,
No,
or like do you summon forwards?
in the
You
Final
know.
Fantasy game, it's
Mm-hmm.
like you see the cost of the card in a crystal on the top.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So when you discard that card, that cost is what you get on crystals. So you use those
Mm.
Okay.
crystals to pay for other cards. So basically, the
Okay.
cost that you discard is what you get.
So it is the same as
Yeah,
But
Symphonite
it's the
then.
what
same. It's the
about
same.
what about forwards though? Because I know in Final Fantasy you can get forwards out onto the field to pay. So technically, like that's how you gain mana. This card, get the forward out, and then that forward itself just becomes like your mana or something.
No,
Does Sinfinite have that? Because I just feel like you're just like every turn you're just
no,
decreasing
yeah,
your hand by a lot.
yeah. In his game, he don't have that. And then again, like I say, right now, for what he has told, his game is not perfect.
Mm-hmm.
His game is not
Uh-huh.
Right.
nearly perfect. Just in case Final Fantasy is not a good game.
It seems interesting. I've not played it. I want to.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
kind of like it is kind of fun, because
Uh,
if you like, let's say
Mm-hmm.
if you're a fan of Final Fantasy 7, you will have all these cards
oh
from Final
yeah.
Fantasy 7. So
Oh yeah.
you will play them, and you will have fun, you will enjoy it. And
I
that's
got in through
Yeah.
13, so
all right. So the thing with this
so
is
like
that
lightning. Hmm.
the thing with
13
this is
sucks
that
anyway.
other than that, the game is not great. It's not a good game. I mean, it's not a
Yeah,
great game. It's a good game. It's there. It works. Um, but it's not a great game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Symphonite will have to beat that in order to for his game to be something that actually hit the market and
Yeah.
impress.
Mm-hmm.
I
Now,
get you.
another thing that I'd like to mention that goes with the curve in his card game is that it seems like it seems like his game would be fair in theory if the lower cost cards were better. So
Yeah.
like, yeah. So it's like it's kind of hard to explain, but like the higher cost cards are just like so much of a blowout if you only have like low cost cards. Uh so like stuff like that. So like if instead of for two you get a 2/2 with like no effect, you get like a 2/3 with a decent effect, and then you still get like for six you still get like a 6/6 with like a weak effect. That
Oh,
way that you're not incentivized to only play the higher cost cards.
yeah.
That way you can actually like, yeah.
Um, I also want to add, we haven't seen a single card that is a spell or whatever it is that he calls them on his game.
Hmm.
So,
He actually revealed like two or three of them
oh really?
yesterday. Yeah. Hold on, let me try to find them again.
All right. Because once we see some of these cards, we can say.
Hmm.
Oh, actually, another point. If cards talk on damage, it's a different
Yeah.
story. Because I
Yeah,
don't know
that'd
how
be a
it
completely
works on the
different.
game, but if many of the cards can deal damage directly, you can use those
Hmm.
cards to get rid of bigger cards, while having a little dude on the field. Um,
Yeah.
it all depends on the how you call this how many destruction he creates for the game, how many how many
Yeah.
Yeah.
cards to destroy other cards he creates on the game, because
Hmm.
that's another thing that I believe you were talking about Chaos Galaxy, a few, and they don't have anything to get rid of creatures.
Yeah.
There's only like a few of them. So
Yeah.
basically, the only way to get rid of creatures is by attacking, and that's it.
Hmm.
So,
That does actually bring up another problem in Chaos Galaxy's current lease. Um, and that's that Chaos Galaxy kind of has the opposite problem where their like boss monsters don't actually feel as substantial as they should because they're just so easily removed. Uh, so it's like,
how? Because you don't
because
have
you have,
that many spells.
yeah, but
Maybe they're just
um
that
Removal,
weak.
you don't have that many removals.
yeah, but the removal that is there is just a total blowout. Like you have Pelfam, for 7 you get to remove any card from the field, put it back in hand, but you get to remove any card on the field and then put out a 3 hitter. Um, and then you have Supernova,
All right, all
which
right.
which will target most boss monsters in the game,
Just in case,
because
just
most of the boss monsters don't have like effects.
this is
Hmm?
just for Ursa to understand this. In Chaos Galaxy, you earn four stars every turn.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So at 7, it means that it's a cost 2. For cost
Yeah.
2, you destroy the whole field.
Okay.
Yeah.
So and he don't have many removals with the ones he
Yeah.
have are like this.
Yeah. And then you also have Abandonment, which will kill everything that's not from the same planet as its controller, which is basically like the color or element in another game.
Yeah.
Um,
Think magic. Target non-white creature gets destroyed.
No, it will be
not target all
yeah.
non-white creatures.
Now, actually, if
But
you're
yeah.
playing, if your main color is white and you're
Hmm.
playing any other color, destroy any other color.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's really like a blowout because only like two of the planets are really able to play only cards from their own planet and actually like do well with that. So that's why like the decks besides those two are just very low tier and very difficult to play if playable at all. So um yeah, that is a problem with Chaos Galaxy.
All
It
right. So
they really need
so what
better
what you
boss
think the
monsters.
curve could should be?
Honestly, I would say for Chaos Galaxy, they need to have more cards like Uram. And I know Zach doesn't want to do it like this because it's gonna feel like Yu-Gi-Oh!
You say
But
ramp, like
honestly, with a
mana
game like
ramp?
this, no, I said Uram. That's the boss monster for
Uh,
Gaios for that like structure deck.
all right,
Basically, he has protection from each different card type depending on the number of trees that he has in the discard.
all
And the
right,
trees are basically like continuous spells that work with his uh, deck strategy. So basically, the later the game goes on, the better he becomes.
Yeah.
And there honestly needs to be more cards like that because in late game, people really struggle to get into that last little bit of damage uh, because the boss monsters just suck.
all right. Um, so in general,
Mm-hmm.
what do you think a curve for for the game should be?
For Chaos Galaxy
No,
or
for
for
any game, because right
for
now you're talking
well,
about he have good cards on the lower end, but
mm-hmm.
at the late game, um, the card sucks.
Yeah.
So
And then
you think
Symphonite has the opposite problem.
so
So
you
I
think
don't
Maybe
that
think.
maybe
Hmm?
they could bring the games together
Yes. No,
and
but
they have
Wait,
the
what games?
the
Well,
perfect
I
what?
don't think that it's something as easy that you can just sum up into like an overall thing like this is how you need to do it for your game. I think that it honestly varies from game to game because games do operate differently, and each game isn't going to have the same problems or things that it does well as every other game. So it's just a thing that each creator is going to have to look to and look into on their own. Sorry about that, and try to fix.
all right. I on my opinion, I play Chaos Galaxy once.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Same.
I did not like it.
Yeah.
I did not like it. The reason for what I did not like it is because I am a Magic player and I am used to, I won't say complicate spells, but combos,
Mm-hmm.
removals, you know,
Yeah.
if I want to build a deck that is blue, I know I will counter and draw many cards. If I want a deck that is fire, I know that is direct damage or haste, and
Yeah.
this is something that your worlds in Chaos Galaxy they don't have it. They,
Yeah.
I believe the
Because you
only
can
one
play
that
any card.
plays well is the Earth one, which switch
Mm-hmm.
the life with the defense.
Yeah.
Other
Yeah.
than that, there's no other mechanics like that works like that. That you can build.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna take this world and this world do this and this. No,
Yeah.
it's like
Mm.
all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, in Chaos Galaxy, because you can play any card with any deck, it's really a case of like five color good stuff.
Yeah.
And then whichever planet does get to make use of its ability on top of that is really the only thing that you can really play.
The thing with that is
Hmm.
who somebody told me he has a game with no colors and the energy
Hmm.
is like cramping, and he only has just a few cards, like 60 cards or something like that, 68, 70 cards, something like that.
Hmm.
The problem
Why
with
does this sound like Sylvan?
I don't know. The problem with
Well,
this,
Sylvan doesn't have that many.
the problem with this is that
Hmm.
once that deck, the deck is created, that's
Hmm.
it. That's the game. The,
Yeah.
basically somebody over there is gonna create the deck, and
Yeah.
nothing else will beat it because he will have the best of everything.
Yeah.
And Chaos Galaxy is just like that, if you create D deck, yeah, there's a few things that okay, he might get rid of this, but then you will knock him out with this. It's like
Yeah.
so that's the problem I see when you create something like that.
Yeah.
And right now he has many cards, yes. So it is good for
Mm-hmm.
his game because it grows, it evolves, but when he don't have removals, creatures became a problem.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I mean that's how I see it. In the
Yeah.
I get you.
with the curve, it depends. Like you say, it depends. It
Mm-hmm.
depends on how the game is built. But anything that plays with mana
Mm-hmm.
have to be growing. Um, I seen some game, some guy, some dude that tried to create a game. I asked him about it, and he didn't even.
Mm-hmm.
I tried him to see the problem, but he didn't even answer me. He kept talking to other people. So, okay, burn.
Do you remember the game?
No, I don't remember the game. It was a long time ago. Um, anyway, the thing is that you gain a mana of a specific color, which is basically the
Mm-hmm.
problem. You gain a mana of a
Yeah.
specific color, you put it in play, and once you pay for a cost, that mana is gone. You use it. You have to
Mm-hmm.
gain another gain another mana. The problem
Yeah.
with his game is that he have cards that cost 6, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
how will you play this card?
Yeah.
If you have a card that costs 6, I would rather play 6 turns 1, and I
Mm-hmm.
have 6 creatures in the field instead of taking damage for 6 turns to get these 6 on the field.
Yeah.
Because he don't have turn 0. I mean, he don't have ghost zeros, and he told me that he have ramping mana ramp, but
Mm-hmm.
it's just all right. So I'm gonna pay 2. I mean, the card he showed me, I'm gonna pay 2 to ramp 1. S- there's no
Yeah.
ramping there.
Yeah.
It kind
Yeah.
of sounds to me like the whole game altogether would benefit from like a reboot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds to me like the whole mana system is wrong.
Yeah. That too.
So I don't know. For me, if you use mana, the system has to it has to be growing. Eh,
Mm-hmm.
You have to keep gaining mana, not going
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
Um, Other than that, crystals or like on Symphonite, I won't say the system is wrong because it works, but you will
Mm-hmm.
also have to gain like another method to
Yeah.
earn mana without discarding cards because
Mm-hmm.
this thing seems like it's something about 3 turns.
Yeah.
Once you play for 3 turns, where is your hand?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you keep drawing, faster than you discard, where is your hand?
Yeah.
So he needs to get another method, another system that creates
Mm-hmm.
some kind of mana or something.
Yeah.
And even if
And
we were to
another
draw a
thing that would
lot, I know
probably
his
help his
deck.
game.
I'm sorry.
Oh no, you can go.
I was just gonna say that like, because even if he did draw a lot in the game uses
Mm.
its deck as life.
Yeah,
So
that's
you
another
Yeah.
just
point.
be getting yourself closer and closer to death,
I know his
and
game
I
will
don't
be
know. It just seems
fast.
clunky.
I know his game will
Yeah.
be fast, like very fast. But I don't
Mm-hmm.
think it will
Yeah.
last 3 turns. I mean, with the mana, I don't think
Yeah.
your hand will last 3 turns.
Yeah.
Three
Yeah.
turns max. Even 4 if you try to play one card every turn. But
Yeah.
I mean, he has to come with a method, to try to create a mana system additionally to this system that he has where he don't have to discard.
Yeah.
Um,
Another thing that would probably benefit his game would be to have like some sort of like where when you draw when you only have like one or two cards in your hand, or when you run out of cards in your hand, actually that would be better. Uh, if you drew like an amount that was above like one,
yeah,
that way you could actually play.
there is some game. I think the U.S. system, Marissa, that does at the end of the turn you reboot your hand to five or something like that.
Yeah.
He will benefit to something like that. Every
Mhm.
turn you reboot to a number.
Yeah,
Yes.
Because otherwise, I mean, like I said, that's dangerous in your deck.
yeah,
But it will be more. And another thing is that your deck will have to be locked to a number. Otherwise, I will create
yeah.
a deck of 100 cards, with all the high costs over there. And let's play.
Hmm.
But
Yeah,
that's again, it goes to where you were talking. Right now, I don't have to worry about my hands. That means that my entire hand can go into play. I can play
hmm,
all these big creatures.
Yeah.
They will all cost. They
yeah,
will all have high cost, and I will discard two of them and bring all these creatures into the field, which are now basically indestructible.
hmm,
And your opponent will have to do the same. So
hmm,
none of us know how his game will work. I don't think he does.
Mhm.
He even does how
yeah.
he have the rules and everything, but I don't know how it works because he haven't play tested enough. But
Hmm.
we will see once he's done. We will. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
um.
I think another game that we should
Yeah.
is TTT. The other day, Sylvan came to both me and Mango asking for ways that improve his game. Uh, so I thought I'd mention probably his game because I feel like what's wrong with his game is that his curve is wrong. Uh, I think I think as long as your curve is correct, then most card games don't really have problems.
Okay. Which one is TTT?
I
That
don't
is
think it's a good
Sylvan's
idea
game.
to bring it up when most of them, only two out of the five of us have really like played it.
All right. All right.
Okay.
I am aware.
But
I'm aware of
can I
most
see which
things.
one it is on the community or something?
Yeah, it's
Tempest
the
Strike.
one. No, no, that one's Baby Boy's game. It's under Guild Games. Basically the way that his game works is you start 10 currency, and then you can play for any amount of your currency. You do not gain any currency unless you sell your creatures or other
Oh, okay.
things.
Yeah, yeah. I know which one it is now.
So you're selling
Hmm.
your creatures into slavery, is what I hear.
Yes, basically.
Excellent.
Oh, no wonder
And
why
then
you
you
need to
have
topple the
like
tyrant.
yeah, and then you and then you have like a commander of a sort. But I feel like the bad thing about his game is because it works sort of like Yu-Gi-Oh, where you have to kill everything on the field before you can attack your opponent directly. So if you play just a bunch of stuff with high health and like medium attack, then you can basically board wipe your opponent without doing anything because they have to attack into year to even be able to deal damage to you.
Well, they can also do like Yu-Gi-Oh, where you set your cards to a specific position, and
Hmm.
then if you are on defense, you won't deal damage back,
Yeah,
but
it
damages
Uh,
will
could work
be
too.
stackable.
But Hmm.
But the way that his game works and the way that his mana resource is, like for me, and it's just my opinion, um, because when you're attacking in his game, you
Hmm.
can't attack face. You have to attack. It's like Yu-Gi-Oh. You have to attack everything there.
Hmm.
But in my opinion, because like cards themselves have life, I don't think you should have to. It should be that hard to get to face. And also, if there's a player who's being very very aggressive, it really
Yeah.
prevents you from gaining any resources at all, and you have to discard all the time just to gain like three resources, which in his game feels like nothing.
Just
And
okay. So
like
Yeah.
I gave him a suggestion of like maybe having combat be a little bit like magic, and there were some other things that were in his game that suggested different mechanics, something like that. And these were just my opinion.
but
But yeah, my that's
Yeah.
my thing is mostly on the research and just attacking for face.
uh,
Because
Yeah.
if you have no,
And
if a person is being aggressive, killing everything you have no way to gain resource. You can't sell anything. You're just discarding cards and having a low hand size.
yeah. And I feel like that also does have to do with the curve because the stuff that does cost a lot is very powerful. So you end up having to use when you're on the defensive and you like if your opponent's being aggro, you have to use like two or three cards from your hand just to get rid of their thing so that you can swing for face next turn. But then in doing that, you just lost like two or three cards in your and then when they play another big thing on their next turn, now it's just even more hard to come back from that. So it's like it's very difficult to fix his system.
yeah. So
Also, hmm?
when you summon a creature, you lose a lot of cards. I mean, when you summon a high creature, you lose a lot of
Hmm.
cards, and once that card is destroyed, you basically um are defenseless.
It's
You're
like almost,
defenseless.
yeah. It's like
Yeah,
you put it out there for no reason.
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, One thing I kind of suggest, like besides that, one thing I kind of suggested was it's like an old like I don't know if there's any other card games. I don't know, but kind of like kingdom cards is sort of what I just like like as a placeholder to describe it, where it's like you have a kingdom and there's like I don't know like how you say what are they called in your game, Maelstrom? The counters the knights have.
The counters the knight have.
Yeah, the knights they gain those counters,
Are the
Oh,
shield
the
armor
armor
counters.
cards?
counters.
Yeah, basically that, but they're just like field spells for your how you say for your commander or whatever it's called.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Because if he were to change it to more of the magic kind of battle system thing, in
I
my
don't.
opinion, I feel it would go a lot faster, but you don't want it to go a little too fast. Those are just ideas, and you can play around with different kingdoms and how they work with
How
the
about
board. Like field spells and stuff. I don't know.
how
Yeah.
about having those system in the in the hand, selling your cars and everything, but also
Mm-hmm.
giving your commander uh, uh, uh how you call this a resource that he can gain this resource now. You
Hmm.
maybe you have to tap him, and he gain two resource, two golds or whatever it is that he used on his game.
Oh, like rulers, you tap them for mana.
Yeah, but in his game,
That
I
way.
believe his game, you sell cards for two, three, four. So it depends.
Yeah.
So he will gain a specific amount, maybe a small amount every
Yeah.
time you tap
Mhm.
him, and then he won't be able to use his spell or come out to attack or anything. But you tap him for
Hmm.
those resources. Will that help the
Yeah.
game?
It probably would
Maybe,
because
yeah.
then the player who's not being aggressive doesn't have to worry about discarding their hand so that they can still actually like make plays and also be able to deal with what their opponent's doing
But why
because
discard
right now it just
cards?
feels like hmm
Okay.
Why just like have to discard cards? You do it that way, and you're just like
yeah
you're not losing. The cards that you could. maybe potentially need later on. Because you
Yo,
could discard a card at that moment because you might not need it at that later on. You know what I mean?
all right, yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just in case, Mango,
Yeah.
Sylvan is on the chat, so he wants to talk to you. He was saying he's
Get
talking shit about
uh
you.
get
Whoa.
Oh, did you
Yeah,
just
we're not
cuss?
talking shit. We're
Oh,
oh,
okay. You
hey,
wanna know what? I'm just gonna leave this
we I
podcast
think
because I
Word.
forget. I really do. Like
no, but
it sucks and it doesn't make sense. Like, wouldn't you rather me curse so then Kappa knows you're not
No, you didn't even curse. It
advertising?
was Astrom who cursed.
Oh,
yeah.
well,
Yeah, he
I
wants
did.
to pay. He
What?
wants to pay that fine now.
Yo, yo,
Yeah.
we already paid
No,
that
but
fine. I'm
Sylvan, it's
sorry.
constructive. It's
Send it to
constructive
Sylvan.
criticism, Sylvan.
Wouldn't it be better to curse so then they know you're not for a child audience?
I
Cause
already
like
did. I already
But
did
it's
it. I did. I just
yeah,
want to make sure.
Yeah,
dude.
but yeah.
wait,
Now
so
that
did you already
Sylvan,
pay a fine?
No, I
Oh
mean
I'm
no,
I.
so
bro! What the
confused how this
hell?
shit
to
works.
pay.
God damn it, no!
But now that you're
I'm
here,
gonna
Sylvan,
leave. I'm
we should
straight
just
up
like
just gonna
rehash
leave.
a little bit on what we were saying.
Mm.
So Ursa, what do you think about
Uh,
the curve, and everything?
I don't know. For the game you all were talking about, what you suggested won't fix it either.
It won't.
Ooh.
No, because even the person with that has the advantage can also do that. So
That's true. That's true.
then they'll
Yeah,
have a bigger advantage.
that is true.
What he needs to do is like make a card type for does he have multiple variations like multiple colors or whatever?
No, he just has one type of resource with
Gold,
He
yeah, that
should
everything uses.
he should do like I don't know like a set of different creatures or effects like a gravedigger. Like whenever something dies,
Ooh.
the gravedigger can just pick it up and you can use it as resource. Like
Mm,
creature it comes into play, you can use resources from the graveyard as though they were in play. So that way the person who has a
mhm.
disadvantage has an advantage, and that doesn't help the person that has the advantage either.
do you think that whenever a creature dies,
Yeah.
it could be he could have maybe you gain a cost or something, and you can use those cards,
I mean, he
discard
can do
them
that
Still
too.
again.
Like
stock.
that would
Yeah.
add that would add more variety to the game too. Like creatures that when they
Mm,
die, they give you half the resources and they didn't die.
Yeah,
mhm.
that's
Creatures
actually
that give you no resources, creatures that give you full resources, and you expand on the game he has already.
yeah,
Mhm.
that's pretty good. Actually, I like
Uh,
that one.
that actually would work pretty similar to the way Tempest Strike works. The way Baby Boy explained it to me back when I asked, this was a couple months ago. But basically, similar system, except whenever you kill your opponent's card, you actually get to gain currency equal to the cost. I mean, to a number next to the cost of that card.
That's broken.
So,
Wait, I'm sorry. What was the
is it?
ability again?
I
Uh,
mean,
I think his
Yeah,
game needs soul
if
triggers.
if I'm gaining that amount, that's broken. If I kill his creature,
well,
am I gaining that? That's broken.
but
Wait,
if he
wait.
has
What
but if he
was the
has counter
ability
mechanics to
again,
that,
though?
Oh,
yeah, but
well, it depends. It
because
depends.
yeah.
because
So
why?
say,
What?
What if he has counter mechanics like you have this thing that gives you 10 resources, and he attacks it and
mhm,
kills it, and in response to
mhm.
the death trigger, you have a card that gives you double the resources that you were gonna get from it. So you get 10, but I get 20.
yeah,
Why
that's
doesn't he just
it
use
can work,
Vice
but
Schwartz mana system? Just use stocks.
Why source?
don't.
You
Yeah,
use your life,
stocks.
your life.
That's
Stocks and
what they're
bonds.
Why
called.
so? Oh, okay.
Stocks.
When you attack.
Stocks.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
but
yeah.
It says stocks and bonds. We are broker now.
Yeah.
hmm, but other than that, though, I do think, although you guys say it is broken, I do think that something like that would help his game because then
Oh,
when your opponent does play like a big card, do kill that big card, now you're the aggressor. So
Yeah.
it just adds a little more back and forth, I would say.
Yeah, you're making it more like a seesaw. Like neither
Mhm.
player feels fully in control because one card can turn it
Mhm.
around.
I like that.
Why you don't like
And
that?
having my game's a little bit too much of a seesaw.
I mean,
Your
I mean,
game is
but
terrible at one-on-one. I'm
but
sorry. It's
but games that
fun,
are
but it's not
Yeah.
one-on-one.
have like a seesaw type of thing, you can fix pretty easily.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you mind to, you know, talk a little bit about
Yeah.
that more?
Yeah.
But
Please enlighten me. I need to fix that change.
what are we
What
talking about?
What do you mean? How
Yeah.
can you easily fix it?
What, fix a game that goes back and forth between the players?
No, no, the
Hmm.
yeah. Well, I mean,
That's what a
Yeah.
seesaw means, sir.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's not that hard. You check the reason why the game is going back and forth, which would be
Hmm.
what mechanics making the game go back and forth,
Okay.
and then just pick up from that mechanic and build from it. Like if we use, for example, the one we just talked about, where if I attack your creature, kill it, and gain those resources, then you add
Hmm.
a set of cards that work around that for you. Like if you're the aggressor, you have a set of mechanics that yeah they kill your creatures, and instead of gaining the full resources, they gain half the resources.
Yeah.
Or you can steal the
Hmm.
resource gathering. Like instead of that creature gaining the resources for your opponent, it gains them for you now.
That's like a Chaos Galaxy card.
But then you
True.
slow the game down a little bit because like instead of going season, now you gotta stop and think
Hmm.
about what your opponent might react to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's like the biggest fixes. You you want the game to go back and forth, go back and forth sells more into the players um
Hmm.
being into the game more interactive. But at the same time,
Hmm.
if you don't have that chess element of if I attack, what's gonna happen? Because if I can just attack, take your resources, attack, take your resources, then build
Hmm.
my board, then next turn you attack, kill my thing, build your resources, build your thing, and there's no consequences
Hmm.
for it, then it goes back and forth. But
I mean, I hope that in his
Yeah.
game you can attack the player directly, because other than that,
I
No.
mean,
you
yeah,
will
but
play your entire deck
Yeah.
and never hit one.
you take
Yeah.
the resource, you take all the things out, and then you attack the player, and then the other player builds up and tries to take your resources and goes back and forth.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Saying
Hmm.
like again, once you figure out what's the reason your game's going back and forth, then you just make bits and tweaks to it, and then eventually it won't make it perfect, but at least you fix that back and forth. That won't be like my turn, this happened, your
Yeah.
turn, the opposite happened, and we just keep on going back and forth on that same situation. More like your
Yeah.
turn. I took a couple of your things. I left a couple of your things on the board, and you don't understand why I did that. Place a couple of other cards and just you go.
Hmm.
You know, I'm gonna make you think why I did what I did.
All right. So
Yeah.
Sylvan is asking, which game model? Okay, he say, do he follow more? I haven't played your game, so I don't know this. Um,
What do you mean exactly by that?
he's asking what game his game is following, like Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic the Gathering, etc. What is
I
the
mean,
real?
it's
I
either
Real
feel
game.
like
I feel
it's
like
Hearthstone.
yeah, I
His
feel like
game
it's
is literally
Hearthstone.
a Hearthstone.
I feel like it's
Yeah.
Hearthstone. For what you're telling me, it is Hearthstone.
it's Naruto.
His other game
Don't
was
at me.
literally Hearthstone with a back row.
See, it's Naruto, bro. Don't at me.
I feel like you should go for a Magic the Gathering style rather than like what you're going with right now. Whereas like the removal is generally better than the creatures themselves. Um, because right now you just have like big stuff that it's really hard to get past without forcing yourself to use like your general's weapon. And then when you do that, you take damage, which only puts you closer to death. And then basically it's just a downward spiral for the person who starts losing
All right.
in the
So
beginning of the game.
so he's asking. His question was he's not asking what he currently is. He's asking what he should follow. So
Hmm.
what
You
direction
sold
we
him.
should take?
You sold him magic.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
Mm.
also
and GG.
on another direction you could look into in the attack, in how to make the attack, and it's kind of different. It's similar to Magic, but it has different, is way shores where you can attack directly, but you can also side attack. And
Mm.
when you side attack, yeah, you reduce your attack, but you can attack the opponent directly. If you are not able to, defeat the creatures in front of you, you can always side attack, reducing the power of the creature you are attacking with, and then
Mm.
and
Just
then hit the opponent, for some at least some damage.
just a mechanical
Yeah.
suicide attack. You just attack directly and then die.
You said no.
Another, I kind of want to say add one thing. And just I don't know about you guys, but it's just a me thing. I think you should not make it to where the creatures themselves have health and they stay at that health because it's just too much to keep track of over time.
Essentially, yes.
I agree.
Yeah,
Like you don't really like if you want to make a game that
it goes
has
fast.
has your creatures with health that you have to keep track of, then the game should
Hmm.
not be too overly complicated.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Pokemon.
Like like a Pokemon. Pokemon's a 1v1 though. You have a
Yeah,
bench, but it's still 1v1. But yeah,
Hmm.
you don't want to play Magic where when you do one damage to a creature, you have to put like a counter on it, and you have a board of like
and all of your
17
creatures are
Nah,
creatures.
then you will
Emrakul.
have a board of
Yeah,
20
you have a
creatures,
board of tokens and coins and check marks and pencils and God knows what's happening on
That's
that
right.
table.
Yeah.
I mean,
At that case, just make a LCG that's meant to be played for like an hour.
Yeah,
yeah.
they
Hmm.
make an RTS and just put it on a computer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or
Yeah.
in defense of whoever is doing this, I think Alceran do it pretty well. Making an app, and then you got like a bench. You got five
Hmm.
zones and three zones on the back, and then this app counts the counters. How many
I
life
mean,
each creature
Yeah.
have.
yeah, but
I
we're talking about.
honestly do not like interactable apps with card games.
Oh,
Like,
Mm.
there's
oh,
one game that's
oh! I'm
from like
Oh,
I'm so
that's
sorry,
kind of gross.
Mister Math Guy. I forgot that you play Yu-Gi-Oh with your brain, not
I,
alone.
we talking about an abacus here. We use an abacus.
no. I mean, like, how do I say? There's a I forgot what it's called, but there's this Japanese because I'm not sure if you guys know Card Kingdom, that Japanese
Yeah.
card shop. Thing. Yeah, them. I used to watch all their videos and stuff. See, I'm trying not to curse. Anyways, I'm a good boy.
Hmm.
Anyways,
All right,
I'm
Toby.
not.
there's this they were advertising. They were like I guess they were sponsored or something like that. There's this game where they had the cards, but they had to have the app to play along with it, and it's like I don't know how to exactly say it. It's like how do I say? It's like they
You scan the car or something?
not not necessarily, but it's like you had to. It's like you're playing two different games at once, and it made no. It
Well, maybe that's the gimmicky of the game.
There was one
that's it's really weird, dude.
there was an
Hmm.
It
American
made
one that
no
was like
sense.
that too. Like you sit in the middle of the table, this computer-looking thing, and as you're
Hmm.
playing the cards, you put the card in there, and you read you some like of this characteristics on the card. And when the opponent puts one card against your card, they randomize themselves.
Hmm.
It was
Yeah, I know what you
overly
mean.
complicated for the reason of not being complicated. So,
Hmm.
Yeah, like those things are not needed.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, your randomize should be shuffling your damn deck. That should be the
Yeah.
randomized effect of your card game.
Oh yeah. Right.
Hmm.
Oh my god. Speaking of random, I actually had a question.
Hmm.
And this is more for like my game, right? Because I know randomness you can't really get around that. That's normal in card games. But like if you're using it for like a mechanic, like let's say like triggers, like my game or your game, Astrom.
Hmm.
Um, how do you make it to the point where it's like what do you do to where it's like not to the point where it's like the game is just relies way too much on it, and
Well,
okay, go on.
for me, I'm talking about me. Your game works very
Mhm.
different because your game you need to have cards on your hand to discard
Mhm.
to reduce.
Mhm.
For me, I wouldn't make a pot of greed with triggers.
What does pot agree do?
Draw two
Draw
cards,
two cards.
but it's a trigger now,
Play for
so even when you take it as damage, you still draw the two cards.
It's not even as broken as you think in my game. It's not
It's
even that
in your
bad.
game, yeah, but okay, it's not that bad. But then he has the ability to put four on his game.
Mm, yeah.
I mean, I don't. Yeah, the pot agree shouldn't exist in a card game that has like you need to use cards from your hand for effects.
No, no, but I mean, in his game, I
Yeah.
mean, spot just in case, it's fruit of flavor,
Yeah,
and
fruits
Hmm.
of labor.
then this card is a staple. It's like I was talking to him, it gives you options. This card is a four cards off staple in any deck.
Yeah,
And right now, what you did when you create this card is that you did that. You create a staple. So right now, if you limit the number of triggers you are doing, um, you are having four of these cards, and then you're gonna pick whatever other triggers you want in your deck. Um, Specifically because of that reason, your game needs a hand size. So four of these guys will give you that hand size.
yeah. How? What's the deck? Is 50, right?
The minimum is 40.
Yeah, minimum
Mm,
40.
40, yeah.
So the minimum is 36 because you put four of this card in every deck,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then this draws you two
Wow.
cards, so your minimum goes down to like 24.
exactly. That's my point. You see,
So
you're
then
playing
your
with
game's not.
24
Hmm.
cards.
Yeah, your game's not as random at that point.
So what now? I didn't hear you.
Like, like the
Why
game is
did you cut out?
your game is not as random at that point.
Mm.
Mm,
Yeah, once you draw into them, it's not random.
Yeah, like
yeah.
But you
I mean,
still,
It's just like,
and it's
oh no,
still
go ahead. Sorry.
for in my game, what I do is I try not to create triggers that will do big effects.
Mm.
Triggers will do
Hmm.
something simple, and
Mm.
not do this massive effect. That way, even if you draw into, because there's many people who don't like triggers, like at all. Oh, this game have
Yeah.
triggers? No, I'm not playing it. They don't like that mechanic, that randomness. So for these
Hmm.
people, my game is a little bit different in the essence that, yeah, you have these triggers, but these triggers won't give you a big advantage like they did on Vanguard, like they did on other games.
Yeah.
I like how he says other games as to refer to Oversoul. Just kidding.
You mean soul fight?
Yes. No, that's what it's called when you play a game of Oversoul.
No, it's not.
Yes. That needs to be the
Ah,
canonical term. That needs to be canon.
book it.
no.
Yes.
The joke is soul fight was the old like the name that it used to go by.
Soul
Oh.
Fights.
Yeah, soul fight.
Okay, so it's Soul Fight Vanguard.
Oh my
Soul
god.
Fight Vanguard.
Get out! Get out of my Christian
Mm.
server. Out of my Christian podcast.
Um, okay.
So, I mean, at least for me, when it comes to triggers,
I think why
Mhm.
don't people don't like triggers?
um, they say
Fair.
the game is random enough. When you add
Mhm.
triggers, it becomes an advantage to the one that is losing.
Okay, so giving something to the person that's losing is bad because
I don't know.
Ah,
yeah,
It's
it-
this is people that don't like random
Basically,
epic
Yu-Gi-Oh
games.
players.
it's the people
yeah.
Pretty
who don't
much.
like they don't like Dragon Ball
It's the meta
Super,
sheet.
how Dragon Ball
Th-
Super
Meta.
These
played.
people, these are people that once they're in control of the game, they don't want to lose control.
Yes, that's why.
Yeah, those are people that deserve the middle finger.
Mhm.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Uh, semi related to this topic. For for a card game that does have triggers, is it better to leave uh the choice up to the player on how much of each type of trigger they should have? Or should you only have, for example, in Oversoul, Mango is wanting to change it to 12 triggers where you'll only get 6 soul triggers and 6 spell triggers.
I believe it's
Would it be better?
15.
Uh,
Hmm?
I believe
I believe
I believe he say
Is it?
15.
Is it Mango?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. What? No,
What's
because I
the?
was listening to
Is it
him and he
12 or
was cutting
15?
out and it distracted me. Dude, it's in between. I don't even know. Because
Uh,
like
Well,
I've
for
tested with
this,
12 and it seems right, and I've tested with 15. No, I've tested 14, and at times it feels
Mhm.
right, and then at times it just feels like a bit much.
Okay, well, for this example, let's go with 12.
all right.
Would it
Okay.
be better to leave the game as you get 6 soul triggers and 6 spell triggers, or do you think it would be better for to leave that open to the player so that the player can choose to have like 10 soul triggers and 2 spell triggers or something,
All right.
depending on the play style of their deck?
Before
uh,
Ursa go in, before Ursa go in,
yeah.
I want to specify something to you specifically.
Mm.
Uh,
To who?
to you.
Well, I don't want. I'm not listening. So let's go.
um, no, just in case, you have to remember one thing. Soul
Mm,
triggers in his game are healers. You heal
Okay.
the
mm,
card, you put it in play, and then you can attack with it.
Okay.
So,
yes.
I mean,
so
I was gonna go with the limit. You should limit it. The
Like
12.
you should limit it to 6
That
or
that yeah, the 6 and 6. I think that should be it. Because like, if you leave it open to the players, once somebody finds something that's completely busted, then you have to backtrack to fix it.
Oh
Realizing
yeah,
that
because
that does make sense.
realizing that it's
Uh,
a mechanic that can be broken, better to control it.
as counterstatement to that
Because like,
though,
who was? Well, I mean, I'm
mm,
remembering Duel Masters when it first came out. Because
mhm,
I think they had no limit on how many triggers you could have on your deck, and the
mhm.
first champion's deck was all triggers.
Well, that's
So
tough.
I
Well,
tried to
yeah,
do that in
okay.
Oversoul, and he didn't
yeah,
want me
Mhm.
like
to.
the first champions
yeah,
game
yeah.
was like 4 natural and snares, 4 laws,
Mhm.
4 brainstorms, 4 I'm
I
like,
hate
okay,
whole.
yeah,
Oh
everything
God,
was like you either draw cards, destroy their creatures, tap them all. He had 4 creatures. That's all he had.
that's amazing.
Mm,
But
okay, okay.
as a
Because I
counter
was just
statement to the uh oh would you like to say your part, Mango?
no, I was just gonna say because the 12 thing. I remember I kept trying to tell you this. I was playing with Kai, and just I remember because I don't even have that many triggers in soul triggers in the game at that time.
Hmm.
So it was 12 total. It was 12 max, and he just like put all of them in one deck, and it just sort of got an OP because he had a very, very, very large board. Half of them were shield, half of them were attackers.
Okay.
Like you could
So
have like a board wipe, and there were board
mhm.
wipe, but at the time, like if you didn't have the board wipe in hand, then what was wait what what's the point?
Yeah. Okay. So now I'd like to say my piece on that little subject.
All right.
Okay.
So if you limit it to 6 and 6, then that means that the decks that don't necessarily take as much damage have a higher chance at winning. Deck now that they only have 6 and they don't have a way of getting more than 6. Now instead of having 25% of their deck be soul triggers as it currently is, now they only have 15%. And even with 25% of your deck being soul triggers, there are some games where you'll take like a bunch of damage and none of them will be triggers. So how do you justify lowering the trigger amount number and then not leaving it
Design.
ambiguous
Yeah.
when there are already decks that have shown that uh they can make this what's it called, this change in their favor, they can make it used as a way of dominating.
Right.
I said that weird.
Can I say something about Aces?
Hmm.
No, no, not
The
really.
way I see it, 12 is too little. 12 is too little. I will say 15, 16, not more than 20. I think I say
Mm. Yeah.
in my opinion 16 is max, 15 is perfect.
Yeah.
Now
Um
I get you on that.
but the limit in soul triggers and the limit in the other one, the what is the other
Mm.
one? The spell
Spell
triggers.
trigger.
Um it has to be there. Even if it is half and half, it has to be there. Um I say this because having too many soul triggers is like annoying.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Now.
if
Okay.
you have soul triggers with blocker, make them so they
Mm.
cannot attack, because
Mm.
they that will be annoying. Um,
Okay.
in addition to that, um, I think that sick. I mean, if you do it 15, you will have what
An uneven
maybe
number.
8 or 7.
Hmm.
So that means that you can take 4 copies of a low soul trigger, which I mean
Mm.
basically every game, every um, deck has 4 copies of lower
Mm.
cost soul triggers, and then you will
Yeah.
have 3 or 4 or your mid range soul trigger. So
Yeah.
um, I don't see the problem with it. I think 15 or 16 is the perfect combination. You can have 4 copies of whatever you're playing, of 2 soul
Hmm.
triggers, whatever you're playing,
Hmm.
Okay.
and then obviously you will have the staple, which is the pot of pre, the fruits of labor.
Hmm.
Where you have 4 copies of that, and we'll leave you with 4 copies of whatever else you want to put there. And if you want to play anything else, you will have to lower the amount of soul triggers you want to put there. So
Mm.
it gives you more deck building instead of being
So,
you. It gives you more control in what
mm.
what the players are building.
So wait. But in saying that, you're basically implying that you're leaving the like the trigger amount ambiguous,
Yeah, I'm about to say
because
like
if you
you
only have
sound.
a maximum of six spell triggers and a maximum of six soul triggers, sorry for cutting you off. But like if you have a maximum of six spell triggers and six soul triggers, if you only have two soul triggers, then you don't get the extra two spell triggers.
That's why I don't put a maximum on the soul
Don't put a
trigger
max on the
on the
spells.
spell triggers.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm.
the thing with this is I didn't put a maximum on the spell triggers because the spell triggers are not a problem. You play the
Mm.
spell, but you still get the damage. The
Mm-hmm.
soul triggers are a problem. You don't get the damage. That's a life you gain.
Mm-hmm.
You put a creature in play. That's a creature you're playing now,
Yeah,
which
you're getting.
Mm-hmm.
comes with an
Okay,
effect, and you
I,
still can
I
attack
see.
with it.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
You're getting a 3 for 0. Like
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
so it's like a
Now,
lot of value.
at the same time, uh, me and Mango did test this out yesterday, actually. My
Yesterday,
deck,
I think it was the day
well, not,
before.
yeah, it was the day before. Um, the day before, basically, we tested, and this deck that I had made, which would have, before the change, would have been a much closer game. He wasn't even able to put enough stuff on the field to even deal damage to me once. And even if he tried to, I had a way of reducing 7 damage that turn, simply
Oh,
because he
to
didn't get into the soul triggers that he needed,
all right.
which
to be
is
fair though,
a
to be
reason.
fair,
Hmm.
In defense to that is the way that that deck worked.
Mm-hmm.
How do I say? It's supposed to be, first of all, it's supposed to be very aggressive. I did have the board, and if I could have survived an extra turn, it would have beat him. But
No, it
the
wouldn't.
way that, because the deck is supposed to be very aggressive,
Mm-hmm.
most of the cards that are in there kind of search things and add to chain and then summon them for free. So there's a lack of draw cards in the deck. So if there were more
Yeah.
draws there, I could have saved myself just reducing the damage. And I feel
So I
like
also
that
had
would
three
also
shields
help.
on the
Like,
side,
hmm?
and four. I had three shields and four cards in hand. You wouldn't have been able to hit me the next turn.
And I still
I
would
would
have
have just
had
won the
cards in
turn
hand to reduce
afterwards.
your next attack if there were more draws in the deck.
All right.
True,
Well, it
First of
sounds like
all,
Manga
but
doesn't know how to play that
but
game.
no, yeah, it does.
but where
That's
to go
exactly
with
what it
this
sounds
though
like.
is that basically basically where I'm trying to go with this though is that my deck, which would have on any other occasion before this change had a like close to 50-50 or 60-40 uh like trade with his deck, my deck now wins way more of the time because my deck is just able to get so much more damage output, and because the soul triggers aren't his deck, which didn't focus as much on damage, isn't able to survive against my deck, which is the reason why I believe that leaving the trigger amount ambiguous would be better for his game.
No, okay. It seems to me, I have to say, it seems to me that
Mm-hmm.
Mango don't know how to build a deck.
Whoa!
um,
Dick
I'm sorry, but
Well,
this is
Wanker
this,
Kick
I
this
City
agree
right
with
this
that.
there.
this
I'm not that best
this is the
at
problem I see. This is the problem I
building
see.
decks.
Um,
Wanker
mm-hmm.
Kick City right there.
when you make a change to a rule, you have to build rebuild the deck. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, if he knows he have a drawing problem and it's a game because it is a game where you need draw. I don't know why you didn't have enough draw. It is a game where you need the
Mm-hmm.
draw. Um, you
I
are
don't know
you
why I was thinking I was picking cards. I was like, situational, but what if this worked?
yeah, but
Oh my
the
goodness.
problem right now is not the deck you having, is the deck he's creating, because
Mm-hmm.
he built a deck without drawing power in a game
Mm-hmm.
that needs a drawing power.
Yeah. To be fair, my deck also had no drawing power.
Yeah, but you have blockers and you have the ability to retain your hand, which is
Mm-hmm.
Well, again, it
Which
sounds
is
like just Manga
yeah,
didn't know how to play that game.
yeah, and that's where that's like another place where my point comes in is that if you do have a deck that just has a better function than your opponent, then your opponent's deck isn't really going to be able to win because they lack the soul triggers. Because like even if he had gotten every trigger, he still wouldn't have been able to reduce that last one damage
okay. I'm gonna put
because
this
he
here.
takes seven to lose.
I'm gonna put
Hmm?
this here.
Put what where?
Okay.
When Oko came in,
Hmm?
When what?
everyone when Oko, the magic
Oh
Ah,
card,
yeah.
I'll call the god.
Hmm.
Worship him.
everyone
I don't know what
everyone
to say.
was playing Oko, or
Yep.
Hmm.
which one was the blue one?
Oko, yeah.
The control thingy,
Simic,
Simic. Everyone was
Well,
playing
Oko,
Oko
Oko is Simic.
or Simic.
yeah,
So
Oko is
yeah.
Simic
if
though.
you did not
But you
play
had to play.
that,
Yeah.
if you
You
did
were
not play that
you were
against
playing
any of those deck, you lose.
Hmm.
you were playing either food or Oko.
Yeah. So if you're
Yeah.
not doing those, you're
I
losing
am so lost
automatically.
on what the heck those things are.
Hey, it's magic cards.
Yeah, these are magic
Yeah.
cards.
Yeah, but
So
again,
So
yeah,
Oko
but
can
it is
literally make
not.
the best card in the game into a 3/3 elk.
Yeah.
I'll let you know.
Black
Like,
Lotus,
you know
right?
that when
No,
Nicol
that's an
Bolas
elk.
invaded Ravnica in the last set, he
Mm,
used the Aether Bridge.
Yeah.
If Oko
yeah.
was there, he would have turned the bridge into an elk. And Nicole Balls would have got invaded.
Yeah,
Ghost status right there.
So
that feeling when Oko can turn a 15-15 into an elk.
Yep. Hammer
Even
who?
Emrakul?
Yes, he can turn Emrakul into an elk.
Yep.
Dang, man. Poor Emrakul.
so it is simply about, yeah, you are creating a game, but you will always have a deck
I
that
mean,
is gonna be
but
better than others.
but it's
Mhm.
still rock paper scissors. Like
Yeah,
the whole
and that's
aggro
why I
beats
feel
control,
like,
control beats mid range beats aggro.
Yeah.
mhm. And I feel like
Yeah.
that's the reason why leaving the soul triggers ambiguous should be a possible thing. That way, decks that are just strictly better don't aren't that much better because you can still rely on healing. So like if you lose game one because your deck is just not as fast as your opponent, then you should be able to side in possibly more soul triggers for game two, so you actually have a chance in coming back if the game ever were to get competitive.
Okay, so you're saying that you're okay with
Mm.
putting a limit on the triggers, like
Mm-hmm.
15 or 16. But
Yeah.
then if you're playing 16 triggers, 12 of those 16 will be souls.
Yes, they could.
Mm,
I think it should be open to the player because that does open for more like strategy and deck building. Because now in like deck like if you're doing like deck profiles, now you have people explaining like, okay, so in this deck, rather than having 16 triggers that are all souls or whatever, now I have like 10 soul triggers. And the reason why is because I want to have four fruits of labor and two copies of like what's it called? Fire Blast. Uh
Yeah, that's
and then
that
other
that that's
decks,
exactly my
yeah.
point. You will have
Mm-hmm.
four fruits of labor, then another number of triggers that you might need,
Mm-hmm.
and the rest is open for healing. Healing
Yeah.
for a card that it
And
gives you
then
3-0.
yeah.
I believe that's the
And then
problem
other
with the
decks
soul cost.
other decks might not even like need spells. So like that worm deck that I had
All right,
made
you know what,
before
Mango?
he removed those cards.
yeah.
This is what we're gonna do.
You guys are chimps.
You will make the soul triggers blockers, all of them, and they cannot attack. That way, you can only get a
Ew,
2 for 0.
that works.
With
Our
50
Garrick
power. So
alien
basically,
with
frogs. Make everything frogs.
Ew. But oh wow.
Oh, wait.
Hypnotoad.
Nobody knows about that in your game, do they? I'm
Hypnotoad.
sorry. Let me
Yeah,
hush.
nobody
Let
knows
me
that.
hush. I'm not going to talk.
Why?
I was about to bring that up. That's why.
I mean,
But
is
yeah.
there any difference regular trick
uh,
besides the
But
soul triggers healing?
I'm sorry, what? I
they
didn't hear him.
can they
I don't
can
know. Urza keeps cutting out for
is
me. I'm sorry.
they can
yeah.
attack. They can, they heal and they give you body. So basically, that's it. Though the
Oh,
other ones, you just get the effect. You still get the damage. You still get, everything.
okay.
Yeah.
Are the effects on the first one better than the second one?
Um, well, it
The spell
depends.
triggers usually have better effects.
Yeah, the
I
spell
haven't
triggers,
seen any soul triggers with
fruit
effects
of
besides
labor. Yeah,
the water.
Most of the soul triggers are
Hmm?
most of the soul triggers are just vanilla.
yeah. Most
That
of the
just
soul
have the
Yeah.
soul.
triggers are vanillas,
Yeah.
Okay.
The only one
and
that wasn't a vanilla was a Garrick Alien.
God forgive him
Oh,
for
and
making.
Ragnar.
Oh, really? You create a
Huh?
soul trigger that is not a vanilla?
Well, Sloth made
I
it,
made
but yeah.
one, and then the guy came in and made another, which was pretty. Was a double edged sword,
Oh, you're
and
talking
it
Mm.
about Garrick alien.
yeah,
Yes,
Euro.
mine is
it was
Frankenstein
very
potion.
situational. In my
Yeah,
opinion,
but
very
it was a
very
cool
situational.
concept.
uh,
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think that it should be open so that if you wanted to max out on soul triggers, you can for like because in that worm deck that revolves around I need to summon things so I can get the effect of my boss monster off because it's a combo deck. If I wanted to, I should be able to have all soul triggers and no spell triggers. That way I that. But at the time, it's counterbalanced because Fruits of Labor is so good that most decks aren't going to want to do that same thing. So other decks should be able to also choose.
Well, like I say, in my opinion, he should put a limit. I don't care what number, but he should put a limit.
You know,
I
Mango,
don't
you do
know.
what you want. Do what
Yeah,
you
but
want.
you do what you
25.
want. It's like
Listen to Kai. Do what you want. No
Maybe I
limits on
just take
anything.
off the limit, make the whole deck soul triggers like
Yeah,
Taiwan.
you do that.
Make the
Yes.
whole deck soul triggers.
I'm on it.
Yeah. See how that
I
works
have
out
it.
for you.
I run 40 Ember Tusk Blazers and one Fruits of Labor.
You don't need
Yes.
it. Fuck to labor. You don't need it.
Bro, just
Whoa,
imagine
whoa,
your
whoa!
opponent
The
plays
custom.
Glare of
Oh,
Hades.
Man,
Oh
uh,
god.
there goes.
demonetized.
No,
You're just done for.
Oh my god.
well, still, I
Ooh.
mean, you do what you want. It's your
Yeah.
game.
Mhm.
I want to really test stuff out.
Yeah, but yeah, just test it out.
Yeah.
Test it and whatever.
Yeah.
Do what you want. Um,
You're
now
elk.
something I want to point out, because we were talking about each other's game here. So,
Mm.
I recently played your game, Quest for Dominion.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have to say this. It
Okay.
was fun. It is a fun game.
Okay.
It
Um,
is.
Thank you.
but it takes too long, man.
Yeah, it does. Oh my goodness.
It takes too long, and I mean, it, how many how many terrains can you put in play on the same turn?
You can only play one per turn
All right, all right. And
unless there's an effect that gives you another one.
yeah, because I see a guy who also you pay two and it gives you a location. Pay one, it gives you a location,
Mm-hmm.
something like that.
It's
Mm.
broken.
That car is a beast.
Not broken.
It's broken.
He's not broken.
Well,
It's
Correct.
broken.
thinking that
No.
usually a game
Yeah.
takes 15 turns,
Mm-hmm.
putting one location in play every turn, 15 turns. He can
Mm-hmm.
make it so you win the game in half of it because you're
Yeah.
building a deck around that. So that means on turn 8, you are winning the game.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not bad, but it's like you don't care about your life at this point. It's like you
True.
put stuff in play to simply I
And then
see
there's all the
I see
removal.
a card. No, yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
see a card that when he's destroyed, he give you another location. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so this guy is a beast.
Yeah. Uh, but what I've tried to do to counterbalance that is that like because you can move on your opponent's territories, if they just spend all of their currency on getting territories on getting like two per turn, then they won't have enough removal to deal with like, a bunch of creatures, and you should be able to kill them before they win by territories most of the time.
I
Yeah, yeah. I
But
want to
yeah,
get
these
ours up
weeks
to
that's a
speed.
problem.
I did I didn't see any problem on this because
Mm-hmm.
on the amount of cards that give you a resource, um,
Mm-hmm.
they're not that bad, and I don't know. I didn't. I have at one point I have 9 resource, and I
Yeah.
was and I was playing my cards, from my hand. I was like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I got 9 resource. What do I do with them now?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I didn't see a problem with this. Is you should at least I don't know if the field cards work with the heroes, so you should at least lower the cost the life of the hero. So in this case, because
Mm-hmm.
he's a beast, I'd say he's a beast, and the game takes too long.
Yeah.
Oh,
Not that is a wrong thing,
Mhm.
just in case. Not that is a wrong thing. But the game seems to be fast, and then it's not.
Mhm. Yeah. I feel like the thing that makes it feel like not fast is that it does have too much of like a seesaw where uh like for one moment like I'll think that I'm like winning like beyond the point of you coming back and then you're like, "Oh, well, I come back anyway." And yeah.
I mean, I don't think that's a bad thing. You need to have those mechanics in play, but
Yeah.
but I don't know.
Also, if I just want to recommend,
Yeah.
if you can, because I know it's hard to do it on Untap, but maybe I don't know if there is another option. Trying to test your game out where you can play more than just two people, because I feel like your game
Yeah.
would work way more better if you had more than two. It just feels
Yeah.
like that kind of.
Oh yeah,
Hmm.
I agree on that. Your game seems like a game where you can play it with multiple people. Like
Hmm. I was trying to go for that
having people in all directions
when I made it.
it might look really good.
Hmm. Yeah, I kind of when I made this game, I kind of wanted to have that same like commander feel when you're like watching like Command Zone and game nights.
Why
Cause
does
like when you're doing
everybody
like
want to make
competitive
Commander the
EDH,
card game?
all the want made her stand.
bruh. Yes, but like with their games, it's like everybody has like their own moment to shine and like everybody seems like they're the aggressor at some point.
That's why they're not playing
With
EDH.
competitive EDH.
Yeah, CDH.
But when you're yeah, when you're playing competitive EDH though, people win on like turn 4 or
Yeah, it's
5.
like
Hold on, I
I'm a
gotta take
stun
a
my
phone call. I'll be
I
back.
must stun my turn. Okay, game over.
Yeah, it's
Tryhards, Yu-Gi-Oh
There,
players.
it's like, oh, I'll play Ancient Tomb, tap it for 2, take 2 damage. I don't care about my life. Play this,
ooh,
what
I
is it?
like
Soul
that.
Ring, tap Soul Ring, play the Mirror Signet, tap the Signet with the mana leftover, Soul Ring, I will play Flash, play Protean Hole, go infinite and kill you. Like, okay, I've seen that happen one too many times.
Well, this is a hard try, so don't pay attention to him. That's why I like to
I,
limit his
s-
idea.
I said, I've seen. I
Yeah,
didn't say I've done.
yeah,
Alright.
he has seen it, but then he built a deck against it.
Yeah, I have force of will just in the sideboard.
You guys were talking about Magic. Everything just went over my head.
Hey, talking about magic. Did you see the constellation things? The drop box,
For
whatever.
real?
The new constellations, I saw them. I
No,
haven't played them.
no.
Did,
Forget
did,
that. Forget the constellation because of
did,
you, Urza. You made me spend money into Magic to buy cats.
did you got the kitty cats?
Not those kitty cats, but I did get some kitty cats.
Oh, okay, Josie. But the constellations look amazing.
Not all of them, but there's some that looks really good.
Oh, they all look good. Some of the pictures don't look good, but the cards
Yeah, I
themselves
mean,
look
yeah,
really
yeah,
good.
yeah. That's what I meant. The
Like
pictures.
the foiling's pretty nice, and I
Um,
mean it's all the gods.
yeah, different a variation of them. Yeah,
It's the original 15 gods.
I mean they're pretty good. They got a nice flavor and everything. I like them.
Magic is copying Yu-Gi-Oh now. They have God cards now.
They always, I'm no, not always, but yeah, they
I
have
mean
them.
they had god cards on Theros.
Yeah, they were enchantment unless you have X
Yeah,
amount of
they're
cards
like
in the deck.
legendary enchantment creatures, and they cannot attack unless you have X amount
That
of
sounds
of loyalty or whatever. Not loyalty, devotion.
Devotion. Yeah.
yeah.
So we talk about curve for almost an hour before switching topics. Yeah.
I'm saying, I mean, the curve. We could have kept on going with curve.
Yeah, I know. We only touch the surface with a curve. It's like we only talk about you know uh, two
Again,
games and games that use mana ramping. I mean,
Yeah,
mana.
half of the games you all talk about, except for everything flew over my head.
I think every color in Magic deserves ramping.
Every color in Magic has some sort of ramping.
Yeah.
No, like just pure, just straight up, like ramp, just like easy ramp.
Except for fire. Fire. The ramping with
Red,
No,
fire
no
is.
red. Red has something
red
called
deserves
Al.
ramp. I
Red,
want some. I want some like salamander, some weird
red,
whatever thing that
red,
they have, so I can tap for mana.
red has like an
I want,
Alpine Avalancher. When he comes into play, you look for a mountain and put it in play. And it's like a 3/3 for 3 mana. And he has Orcish Lumberjacks. He's a 1 red 1/1. You tap it, sacrifice a forest, and you add 3 red mana to your mana pool. So
what
they
about
have
a
some.
Demir deck
Yeah.
with
Those
ramp?
are those. I don't know.
I mean, there's some rampish on red, but they follow like the color pie, which is like I think that's the one thing every game should have is the stupid color pie.
Oh yeah.
Like, because like it lets you know which color does things the best and which follows, and you
Yeah.
have a chain of commands, so that way you don't
It's
just because you made your pot agreed for
I'm
it.
very bad at following that,
yeah.
man.
It is the way I see with the color pie is like if you don't have a color, you can take the best cards of every color and put it in a deck.
Some that's
And
not yeah, but I'm also saying like the color pie. Like for example, we talked about it before we went to curve. But
yeah,
blue. When you think blue, you think drawing cards. When you think red, you think direct damage.
yeah, yeah,
Well, that like the color. That's the color identity. So that makes the color pie like, yeah, blue's the best at drawing cards, and then black is the second best, and then red's the third best, green's the fourth, and white's the worst.
yeah.
And then every color has something they do better than the others. And
It's not that bad.
what?
In drawing,
Green is
Yeah.
actually third now. It used to be red, but I think now it's
I
green.
draw life.
no, no,
That's
no,
what
no, no.
white
We're
wants.
talking about drawing
I'm talking drawing
cards.
cards.
Yeah, you put a
I
Why
number
would I draw cards if I can draw life and
Why would you
plus
wanna
one
because
counter?
that's what
draw life?
because that's what like is good at. We are
Yeah, like
talking about blue do these things first, and white is the last
yeah,
one.
white
Then
like
white is the one to heal, and then this is the last one.
Mm.
yeah, white heals, and some other colors don't, and so on and so
What we
forth.
talking about?
We're
Are we
talking
talking about
about milling someone's life.
Milling someone's life?
Yeah.
Yes, that's the only type of
Yeah.
mill that should be in the game.
I mean, blue does that.
So burn.
No, you will
Yeah,
see. You will see.
psionic blast.
Alcohol, modern standard. Yeah, every game now.
I just like the
Yeah.
three the elk. He's about to get
Yeah,
Hmm.
slapping everybody with the elk. I mean, I think and he banned in modern, standard, and legacy.
yeah.
Who plays standard? Standard's trash.
I don't play standard. Gotta spend too much money.
I think Sylvan is the only person that is he still watching this?
No, he
Sylvan's
left.
the only
He might
person who
be.
plays standard.
Oh, that plays
Yeah,
standard.
Sylvan does play standard.
Gross.
You just play
Yeah,
commander.
he had money. Huh?
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, I play commander because I can use all the.
I play
True.
Pauper.
I
I
play
play
popper, but
casual.
I got 3 infinite popper combos. So nobody
Oh,
plays popper with me.
I don't even play. I don't even play casual. I play. What do you say?
Tape
The draft.
drafts.
Yeah,
Damn.
booster draft. That's it.
Oh yeah, talking about that. I'm gonna go play a booster draft on tap.
Booster draft on
Bro,
tap.
you guys want to play that
Yes.
booster draft again? That was pretty.
It was
I
That's
almost won. I
would
almost
like
won.
to
But
play Pokemon on tap with you
Urza
guys.
would have messed it all up.
I mean, I'm not
And
gonna.
then and then that same night after that, I wanted to buy cats. For some
A-
reason, I wanted to buy cats. I
Actually,
wonder why.
actually, the same morning, it was 5 a.m.
Oh
in the
yeah, because it was
morning.
like 5 in the morning. That's true. Let me set up this. Oops, that's not it.
Sorry about that.
I, w- I would like to cube with you guys at one point on Untap.
You would like to what?
play Cube on Untapped with you guys?
If anybody has a cube,
No, I don't even know
Oh
what's cube.
dang, never mind.
you know what?
Basically, it's draft, but you get to choose what cards are in the pool of cards.
Oh,
Yeah, you get to like
Hmm.
you make a draft, but all the cards are selected from.
Yeah,
right.
You
you
select
get
all
to
the
handpick
cards.
what cards.
Yeah, like I think Wizards dot Legacy Cube, where it has the Power 9 and all that other stuff in a cube.
Also, off topic, but in Arthur, all the families are different species, so that means that that in order
Yeah, they
for
agree.
the
It's
yeah,
incest. Yes,
the inbreed,
yes. I knew you were going for it. I was like,
yeah,
yeah, it's the dark tale of Arthur, the
yeah,
the untold story. Childhood ruined for some people.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, still going back to the curve line. Um,
Mhm.
I believe that
Okay.
in magic, in a mana system, it has to go ramping.
Yeah.
In a
No,
system, huh?
see, the um, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Would would you pay would you pay 2 mana to go ramp for your third land?
Hmm.
Like, would you do that, or would you counter something with the same 2 mana?
That's like the life of a control player.
Yeah, like, cause like that's the thing. Like, had you ever seen a like oldest like from all 25 years of Magic? Had you ever seen a deck that has ramp in it be on the top 8?
I mean, not really.
Yeah, zero decks. Like the closest one had like
Yeah.
that the 4 mana dude Solemn
Actually,
Simulacrum
technically, yes.
All right.
Actually,
What I mean, okay, maybe
or
I say
or
this
dark
wrong.
or dark
because Lotus Field is a card.
yeah, but the deck doesn't ramp you because you got to sacrifice 2 lands,
Yeah, but what
Yeah,
I
and
but
mean, okay, what I
and
you
he's
mean,
don't
trying to and
have
he also,
the two lands.
and he also tries to go infinite with Twitch and whatnot.
Wait, do you have to sacrifice two lands, or
Yeah, for the
um,
Lotus, yeah, when the land comes into play
yeah?
tapped, and you have to sacrifice 2 basic lands.
But what if you don't have to? Basically, can you
Then
just not play it?
the land gets sacrificed.
Oh
you
wow,
have to
that's tough.
sacrifice. Yeah.
Yeah, sacrifice unless you sacrifice 2.
Yeah.
I mean, the closest thing to a ramp deck was like again the Black Winter when Necropotence was like in thing because it was
Wait, wait,
Dark
wait,
Rich.
wait, 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 wait. Wait, it says if you have two, or I mean, if it says if you have fewer than two, you'll sacrifice as many as you can.
Yeah, itself.
Oh,
Yeah,
true.
it's a play
True.
on words of like if you have 1 land and you play it, you're screwed.
Yeah, itself.
Yeah.
So you cannot be like, oh, whoops, I played this, I'm gonna sacrifice it. Nah, everything goes. It's a bargain sale. Yeah, I think that's the only Ram deck that's ever gotten somewhere like Necropotence.
All right, but what I mean with
Mm,
I'm sorry, I say ramp, and I should have say like going up in the scale. You know.
Yeah, no, going up in the little like if you're thinking mobile games when you go from turn 2 to turn 4, yeah, that makes a bit more sense.
No,
But like
if
yeah.
I'm think if you
in
go,
game
yeah,
in games that use resources like Magic,
yeah.
doesn't really make that
Hmm.
much sense unless you're playing like a big multiplayer thing where you can have time to set up.
Well, you still have to go
Yeah.
up. That's what I mean. You cannot go down.
I mean,
Hmm.
yeah, but you don't want to rush the up either.
Yeah, but the thing is that if you have the game like I was telling, where you have to pay the resource and the resource is removed from the game, you only get one resource each turn.
Mm.
So you pay the car and the resource is removed. So what's the sense? You're not using it. You're not doing anything. You're losing your
Yeah.
resources. You have to go up. You cannot go down.
Hmm.
You can even stay.
Yeah.
You can even stay or go up.
I mean, but what game
Yeah.
uses resources and you lose?
it's a game that this guy was creating, and I tried to talk to him about it, and he just
Because like that's a big
That's tough.
like just like even not only mechanically but just in commonsensical, like what thing gets built and you lose what you used to build it, then you have no building.
Yeah. Hmm.
It's like, yeah, you're gonna change it to like you got rocks and cement and all that stuff to make the building. You transform it from that into the building. You don't just lose it.
yeah. So I tried to explain to this guy, but he just ignored me.
Yeah.
Anyways, um,
So that game probably takes like a year just to finish one game.
now
Yeah.
basically you have a bunch of one cost in the game. You play one
Yeah,
cost
I'll play.
every turn.
I'll play my
Imagine
1-1.
trying to ramp, but it takes you like 7 days of setup.
Yeah, like all right, I'm gonna play this farm, and I'll be back
Mhm.
next week when my farmer gets all the corn from it, so I
Yes.
can play
At
my
that point, you're just playing
popcorns.
Clash of Clans.
Yeah, pretty much. Like you play your land, a timer pops up, four
so
Mhm.
minutes.
so this is good
Yeah.
for games that use how you call this crystals or coins, like an exact amount of
Mhm.
of resources that you gain every turn. Like if you gain four resources and you are taking away, yeah, okay, that works. You can save your resources for the next turn, so you can play bigger creatures, or you can play a
Mhm.
small creature. You will still have some resource left. So yeah, in that case it works. But just
Yeah.
one resource, it's like it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, unless he would have like use the resource and whatever you play from the resource also.
What was that? Yo, who's been arrested?
What the hell just happened there?
That was weird. Hold on. I will have to be right back.
All
Okay.
right, he's been arrested.
Oh shoot! I'll vouch
Yeah,
for you. You were here all day.
I think they got him for the cursing.
Oh shh! The YouTube police. Anyways, unless he should, if he should change something, would be like if you have one resource and you sacrifice the resource to play a 1-1, for example. Next turn, that 1-1 should at least generate a resource too.
Yeah, and I mean, if if you create a bunch of zero cost and the resource is just an extra, the gameplay with the zeros, and then you gain a resource every turn, but this is to play the big creatures, the big guys.
Okay. Um, what's the game? Oh, do you know that game Epic?
No, I hear of it. No, no, I haven't.
Okay. Well, Epic, it's kind of weird game. Like all the cards cost zero, and then the really good cards, I guess, cost one resource, and you only get one resource a turn. But you only get one. Like if you didn't use your
If yeah,
resource,
you
you
don't
don't get
get
another
another
one.
one.
You just get one. But if you use it on your turn, you get one on the opponent's turn.
All right.
So it's like, and you can play your cards. What like some cards can be played on the opponent's turn. Some creatures can be played on the opponent's turn. You play your creatures. You can play as many zeros as you can, and you can only play obviously the ones that cost one. You can play them, and it's like it's a pretty fast-paced game. I want to say. He has a lot of destroy the whole board kind of cards and a lot of draw two cards, but they all cost one resource, so you can't really abuse of them. It's like either or. Either you destroy all the creatures or you draw two cards.
All right. Yeah, yeah.
But
It's
it's like
you
it's
can play one big card for turn. That's what.
yeah, you can pick one big and you start with 30 life or 40. I don't remember. I think it's 30. But I don't know. Like it just sounds like that game. Whoever that person is trying to do just one resource and everything else gets its zeros and the ones are the good ones.
Yeah,
What are
that's
we talking about?
if he would have done that,
Uh,
I will take it. But everything costs 1 to 6. No zeros. 1 to 6.
I don't know who it is. Mango. We were just talking about somebody's game, but I don't know who.
Yeah.
Mm.
Anyway, um, and we got those mana system. Then you got those where you gain in a specific amount. Um, Yu-Gi-Oh is all over the place. Yu-Gi-Oh is special. I won't talk about Yu-Gi-Oh.
I don't like Yu-Gi-Oh.
I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh, like it was okay earlier in the life cycle, but now that there's so many extra deck things,
Yeah, it's
it's like link summons, exceed
It's
summons,
very
pentas,
overwhelming.
summons,
yeah, it is.
synchro
Also, maybe it's
summons.
just me, but I don't like the side it brings out of players when they play.
I don't. Yeah, that's the biggest problem I have with Yu-Gi-Oh. Like when Yu-Gi-Oh started, because I guess they're all kids. There were no really adults playing Yu-Gi-Oh. But
Yeah.
now those kids that play Yu-Gi-Oh are adults, and they're just like the DS of D bags on the planet Earth.
Yeah.
Like it's either they win or they complain. There's
Yeah.
like no middle ground. It's like
Or they're not bad, but they brag too much.
at one point I thought that like Magic Pros were bad, but yeah, Magic Pros have nothing compared to these people. Like,
Man.
Magic Pros are like the nicest people in the world. No, Yu-Gi-Oh players are like, oh yeah, look at my deck. It's all first edition foil, all secret rares. You show up with the exact same deck, but it's all commons because you don't have that money. They just look at you like, look, burn that deck, bro. It's like it's the same deck you have. Burn it, bro. It's not the good deck. how, how can you sync her to a pre-made deck LP? You hear okay, everything's
And then you
non-foil.
beat them with that deck.
Just in
They
case,
make you
let me put
blame.
this here. This program does not how you say that?
What? Okay, the content stated on this program does not reflect the ideas of those involved with it.
Yeah. There you go.
I mean,
Magic players, I get that weird sort of vibe from them that they're like out of all the TCG games, they're like the aristocratic type of people. Like if you go to them for a job and they read your name on the application, they say Jamira Kwan, and that just won't do. That type of people.
I don't know. I think out of all card games, I think the Magic people are the most approachable one.
No.
I
Still.
feel like Force of Will
Yeah,
people are
Force of
more
Will.
approachable.
I mean,
They will teach you, but they
Force of
will
Will
they
are
will make
weebs,
sure
bro.
you learn that you're gonna get your butt whooped. But they're
Yeah.
more friendly out of everyone else in my.
Weebs are approachable.
Yes,
But
All you,
yes.
still. But
I
still.
mean, the only thing you interact with like somebody playing Force of Will, you just walk to the table. You don't even mention that you don't know how to play. You just look at the game for 10 seconds, and you go like, "Oh, that elf is naked," and they'll be like, "Yeah." It's like that looks like a good card. Are you interested in the Church of Force of Will? It's like yes. They sit you down, take you through all the
The Church
cards,
of
and show you.
Hierarchy.
Yeah.
Yeah, would you like the real TNA? Like, sure,
Oh
sure.
my god.
Just sit down. They'll guide you through it. Then you
Yo,
go on. You're like,
this is getting out of hand though.
I think Force of Will art is, in my opinion, more masterful than
I think
Magic
for
art.
I think Force of I mean you're a weeb though. But
Yo,
first
yeah.
I mean Force of Will is really good. I'll give you that.
I'm gonna
I
say this: Force of Will has good anime art.
I would think Force of Will has the third best art on a card game.
For me, Magic is just very, I don't know, very bland. Like I got the what's that Oko structure deck thing, and some of the cards were really cool,
You got a structure
like
deck.
colors. Yeah, I just got a structure deck just because, like, why not? Anyways, some of the cards were really
He thought
cool,
he would
but
get the Oko.
no, not really. I didn't care. But
But anyways, no,
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm more happy that I got cats out of anything. I was like, oh, screw the deck. I'm
exactly.
just using these cats.
Oh yeah, you
Uh,
had the Keeper of Fables.
yeah.
That
And
card's so good.
it's kind of but what was I
Oh,
saying? Oh yeah, just some of the art just seemed a little like bland and not very dynamic. Like it could have done better.
I I think that's the thing with times. Like, cause I remember like Magic Card used to be like insanely good,
Yeah,
and
Yeah,
they
not
used to
and
be
not
good.
Now it's starting to get a little bland, but that's probably because they're trying to appease to so many people.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like back then, it was like this art looks good. We're gonna do this. Period.
Yeah, but it was
Yeah.
very. I mean, dark
Okay,
dark cards. They were dark.
yeah, you know
Yeah.
the magic card has stepped down with the best art, and all the sets are the lands.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
Like
lands are
for
always
example, right? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
like I'm saying, the land art is always insane.
Yeah, right now, yeah.
Yeah, they are.
They have these how you call that
Like
the
the artists that do,
where you put them all together, you get these, these
oh yeah, the panoramas.
yeah, you know, they're pretty cool.
Yeah, no, yeah. John Avon, my
Mhm.
favorite magic artist for lands. Appreciate him.
For
But
I'm
countries,
looking. I'm looking through some of these cards, and right now,
what?
like, I'm looking through some of these cards
Oh
from
yeah,
Magic that I have. Like,
yeah.
I'm looking through the Oko thing, and I'm just like Leaf Pixie and Charmed Sleep. I don't know if you know those cards, but those are very bland to me. And they
the
could have done
pixie
better.
is the pixie, the green and blue one that taps for mana.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't really
that
like the art for that.
Yo,
like that.
still, I mean,
Gary Vandal could have been brighter. I feel
not
like that
all
card
the
could be
cars
dark.
are going to be good. Like not all of them gonna have
I
Yeah,
know, but
great
not
art.
all of them
if you
can be
go
all.
at it, you gotta go at it 100%.
Mm,
No,
All right, All Might, calm down.
yeah.
you gotta do you.
Gotta
Okay,
go, gotta go all the way, 100%
all the
plus
way.
ultra.
Yeah.
But still, it's like Angels of Resonance is saying, it got too commercialized, which is true. Right now,
Yeah, I mean now
but
they
right
gotta
now
follow.
everybody's having their eyes over there. Like
Yeah,
every
like
game is following them.
yeah,
When
Magic is the biggest game right now. Like
when you
Magic sucks.
when you listen to me, when you are creating a TCG or when you are playing a TCG, whether you like it or hate it, you know what is Magic the Gathering.
mhm.
My sister likes to call it the nerd game.
I mean,
She's not wrong,
Yeah, she's not
I'm gonna
wrong.
say
but
like she's not
she
wrong.
doesn't say that when I play the other game.
What other game?
Just any other game.
Yes, that's she's right. Cause only dumb people play other games.
Damn.
Cannot
Damn.
cannot be a cannot be a nerd game.
Damn. I actually want to ask you guys,
Yeah,
like
you're burned.
when you're playing what am I saying? Oh yeah, not playing. I got my words. When you're designing a card game though, like is making it competitive very important when in my opinion the people who are playing your game are going to make it competitive regardless. Like for example, look at Street Fighter when it came out. I don't think they intended it for it to get how it is now. If that makes sense. I don't know exactly how to word it.
Yo, what are you saying? You're creating
I'm say
a game for
I'm say
for dumbs?
yes and no.
Say what, Erza?
Say yes and no. Capcom knew what they were doing when they released Street Fighter 2.
Yeah.
Mm.
Because remember, like they made Street Fighter 1, and it only had like a two-player thing that was only Ryu versus Ken. It was like the exact same character, 1v1,
Mhm.
and that's what the game was popular for. It was like you go to the arcade, you had the joystick and the one button that you had to like smash hard so it could punch either hard or soft or whatever little gimmick thing.
So design a game for competitive in mind.
Yeah, like they knew like what better way to make money in an arcade than have two people spend money on it at the same time.
Two
That was
is
the whole
better than
thing.
one.
Exactly,
Yeah.
two people's better than one, and they Street Fighter 2 came out and they just exploded. Because like that, not only like they made the game so two people would play, but then as you're playing with somebody, since you're fighting somebody but not really punching them, so you get into
Mhm.
that the whole like, oh, I'm better than him. So then you want to put more money in it to beat the other person.
Yeah.
That eventually becomes like who's the top dog on the arcade, and then the other you want to beat that one, and you just pump your money into the arcade. That was like its strategic plan.
Mhm.
Because
I
I know
mean,
how much money I spent.
plus you don't want to create a game for dumb. I mean, it's good that your game is basic, everybody can understand it, but you want to have mechanics in your game, or not mechanics, abilities in your game that people can go into and say, okay, this works nice,
I mean,
with this.
50-50.
I mean, I
50-50.
understand that, but it's
You
like
want
more
the
like
you
the
want the game to
mindset
be.
when you're making it. You know what I mean?
I think that
Like, oh, I'm making this. Everybody's gonna be making tournaments and this, and da da da.
if you're making the first of, your mindset should just be okay. Let's make the best game we can make.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
like our target, like again to go with the Street Fighter metaphor, the target with Street Fighter was to have two people play the game constantly. So and you wanted to bring your revenue higher. So they made the best game they could possibly can, a 1v1 fighting game. And
Street Fighter's not that great, but okay.
when they
Well, you
when they
play,
made,
go back in time and play at that time.
I
You,
say Street Fighter, every fighting game that's out there right now is because of Street Fighter
yeah,
2.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
true.
Like straight up, like there's no denying what he did. Like the game was it was programmed so well that it had combos, and they did not program the combos. So like they just programmed it and the best of their abilities, and then they built from it. Like once it became popular, because Street Fighter came in '92, and
Hmm.
Blockbuster, back when Blockbuster assisted,
I don't
had
even
a
know that thing.
had a Street Fighter tournament,
Yeah.
and that was like the year when Street Fighter came out too. So they had to be plans of doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and then Mortal Kombat, and then all the other crappy ones.
I don't like Mortal Kombat whatsoever.
You don't have to like it.
It's a terrible game. It should never been.
It's not
Burn
a
I
every
mean,
great
copy.
game.
I mean, you can't. If without Mortal Kombat, you didn't have the EBR system, the EBRS system, or the EBR whatever system.
I don't know what you're talking.
Yeah. What is the
I
EBR?
the system that ranks the games. It has the teens, adults
Oh, okay.
only.
Yeah, yeah,
The I think it's the rating system, whatever.
yeah.
It's the
The rating system. Yeah.
ERBS. I forgot the initials for it, but without Mortal Kombat, you probably would have not had that. And maybe without Mortal Kombat, you wouldn't have had Grand Theft Auto.
I mean, I don't think so.
Yo, you
I
like
think
Guilty
somebody would
Gear.
have just made those games regardless.
You like Guilty
I don't,
Gear. Without Mortal Kombat, you wouldn't have
yeah,
Guilty Gear.
probably. I mean, without Street Fighter, you probably wouldn't have Guilty Gear because Guilty Gear is more inspiring than Street Fighter.
Yeah, but still, Guilty Gear has fatalities. So yeah,
That they have
Guilty Gear
one
did
hit
they?
one hit KOs, not fatalities.
it's the same thing.
You destroy the person, you don't kill them. Like they don't die.
Exactly.
ESRB.
There you go. It's the ESRB. That's all I was
Be
right.
like ESRB. Because
Thank you. I just
ESRB is just telling you
read
whether it's for teenagers, mature, that stuff, right?
Yeah, it's like the rating system. Like movies had it, and then because of
Do you want that? Does that matter?
well that
It
allowed
does.
game companies to do content not only for kids. Instead of playing 60 million copies of Super Mario Brothers, it
Mm-hmm.
allows you to have games like Grand Theft Auto, like
Yep.
Halo, like
Or
Doom,
SSS Tricky.
yeah,
I don't know, maybe.
or
I
Pokemon.
don't. Excuse me. Well, when people just make that regardless.
I mean, they wouldn't have made it because like violence got mainstream because of Mortal.
Yeah.
Because of Mortal Kombat?
Yeah, Mortal Kombat was the game that put violence in video games like in the mainstream. Like it made it popular. Because yeah, there were games before Mortal Kombat that were like violent,
Yeah,
but
but they were heavily backlash.
yeah, and nobody noticed them. To be honest, Mortal Kombat came up, it give it to you in your face. Like you're fighting somebody, at the end you kill them, and we move to the next person. And you kill them in a flashy way too.
Yeah.
Some are unrealistic, but you know, and that's what really drew the attention. So yeah,
Basically, you play Mortal Kombat 1 and you do want and to do the fatalities, It's like
yeah, like
that was the flashy thing on Mortal Kombat 1.
there was an article that came out
I don't
for
think
the
that was intentional, though, was it? Like, I mean, they put the fatalities in there, but I don't think they thought that people would find them, right?
yeah, that's what I say. Like there was an article like for the 10th anniversary they were talking about. They made the fatality combinations, some button combinations that you would never use in a fight, because they expected them to like randomly find them, and you'd be shocked that oh shoot I killed them. They didn't expect people. They didn't expect people to find them immediately. Like I think 2 days after the AK came out, all the fatalities were.
Jesus Christ.
There were some hardcore players, right?
Just imagine the people.
Yeah.
Imagine how much money they made like the first week that game came out,
Yeah.
just in quarter sale because people are just throwing quarters just to find out these fatalities.
I'm just picturing like a young
Plus,
Kai sitting there with acne on his face, trying to figure out
plus, you have to
everything.
remember. You have to remember this game came out when the Super Nintendo was out, and it looks gorgeous.
Oh yeah, it looks pretty good on the Super Nintendo. The Sega Genesis version, not so much, but
You mean just like Laura Croft in the Tomb Raider thing?
Oh
Tomb
yeah,
Raider's 90.
perfect. Those are perfect. Yeah.
I mean, Tomb Raider's 96. I mean, you're making fun of that, but you should have said Cloud on Final Fantasy VII. Looks worse than Lara
Tifa?
Croft.
No,
Oh, that
yo,
was so
look,
bad.
they look bad. They look bad.
That look
But
worse than Lara Croft.
yo, Lara Croft, they just triangles. You
Yeah.
have
So it's
squares
Cloud is.
with
Yes, but
triangles.
that was supposed to be very cartoony. I don't think they were.
Yeah, no. That's because I mean, what do you like? That Tomb Raider came out in '96 or '97. Oh,
I
right,
don't
maybe
remember.
98, 90 something. It was like the genesis of polygon games.
PlayStation.
Yeah, PlayStation One. Like
Yeah,
PlayStation One came out in '95.
I didn't
And
like
y'all
my
complaining
PlayStation.
about like a first gen PlayStation game.
but still, remember now that we're talking about this. Okay. Also, Final Fantasy was the first of its kind.
I mean,
Final
yeah. See,
Seven. So you when
Final Fantasy X was the first one to go into the polygon thing. Yeah,
yeah,
I
3D
understand.
3D
That's why
polygon thing. That's why
that's what I'm saying. Why you're complaining about Tomb Raider when Final Fantasy came out too?
because even Final Fantasy VII looked better than Tomb Raider. Dude, I wouldn't even find the dogs when they were trying to beat me. I was shooting everywhere.
I mean, the difference is what type of game they are. Because one's an RPG, so you like the other one's an open world game. So you
Yeah.
know,
Okay.
so so
I mean, I
they
thought
they had to deal more with the jumping mechanics and all
Yeah,
the
I know.
other
I know.
mechanics. So they forgot about when you shoot a tiger with two guns, they die with 3 bullets, not with 70 of them.
wait, what?
You shoot the
Uh,
dogs and you have to hit
What?
three
Well,
bullets.
I don't know why I'm thinking about bears.
you also kill
Pretty
bears in
sure
Tomb
you
Raider.
shoot a bear, you're not
Yeah,
gonna kill it with one shot.
he
Oh
said
no,
a tiger, but
it
okay.
Bears
takes
are
like
on steroids.
30 or 40 of them. I remember killing the Tyrannosaurus Rex.
What are you playing?
Tomb Raider.
What? No, get out.
You didn't get that far?
Just stop. Get out.
Yo, I get to the first two dogs, I couldn't see it anymore. I
Oh,
stopped.
I cheat. I gotta lie. I cheated. I did the little code to jump levels to the final level.
You see, that's the difference.
I didn't say I played the whole game. I didn't like Tomb Raider.
Yeah,
I got it as
I didn't like it.
I,
I
I
didn't
got it
play
as
as
a
many
gift.
games.
Like I got it as a gift. It was the only game I hadn't played from my whole collection. Put it on my PS1 and I threw it out the window.
Unlimited bullets. Yo, I will waste them all, and
Somebody
I.
outside. Oh snap! Tomb Raider.
Nah,
Oh, you Tomb Raider! Oh, that throws it back at my window. Take that junk back.
eh, eh, I will waste them all, and I wouldn't hit the dogs.
Yeah.
Unlimited
I
bullets.
mean, I mean, I understand.
I'm just like looking back at those graphics, even PlayStation graphics. Man, I
The,
feel old.
the thing that always bugs me is I'll go back like yeah to like a game like Tomb Raider or Final
Mhm.
Fantasy VII or like the earlier the Battle Arena Toshiden or some Tekken, and
Yo,
I go and I'm playing the game and I'm like, Jesus, these graphics are horrible.
yo,
But then I go back to like my Super Nintendo and I put Chrono Trigger or Final Fantasy or even Street Fighter. I'm like, man, the pixel graphics look really good.
yo, yo. Resonance is asking. Angels of Resonance is asking.
Oh, sorry.
Are you sure you were playing Lara Cross? You know, the Tomb Raider, because he's asking if there was a T Rex over there.
Yeah, there's a T-Rex on Tomb Raider.
Why?
I don't know.
It's like it's on Tomb Raider 2.
Now let's talk
Uh,
about something that me and Urza can really, there's a
Uh
certain genre of and
oh, you talking about Etchy?
no,
no,
we're not.
no.
it had to start
Actually,
over. Yeah,
do you ever
Oh God, here we.
did anybody play a game called Thousand Arms?
What is that? That sounds horrifying.
It was a dating sim
Because
RPG.
oh, a thousand
no,
arms.
and let's stop right here.
You said a
Thousand
thousand
Arms.
arms.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Thousand Arms.
That does not sound like a dating sim. That sounds like the prequel
It,
or the sequel to Human Centipede.
it's an
What
Yeah.
kind of
RPG.
dating sim? Oh my God.
It's an
Let's
RPG.
stop right here.
Stop! It's not bad. It's you a blacksmith and you date the girls and they give you their souls and you make the weapons.
That sounds actually really cool.
Yeah, it's a really good game too for the PS1. I remember one.
For the PS1.
The only reason I remember this game was, and I might just like put my friend on the spot. Like I remember playing with Armando, and he was playing the game right, and the game had 2 discs. So he finally beats the boss at the end of the first disc. And you know how games tell you, "I'll pop the disc tray open and change this one to this two" back in the day.
Yeah.
So okay, bro finally beats him. I'm just like laughing here. Struggled for like 3 hours. He opens the PlayStation, takes the first disc out, puts it on the box, takes the second disc out, puts it on the PlayStation, closes the lid, and turns off the PlayStation. And then turns it back on.
Why?
And yeah, I'm like, why did you turn off the PlayStation, right? It's like, well, I changed the disc. I'm like, bro, but you didn't save. So he had to repeat the whole dungeon for like 3 more hours. I'm like, this that's the only reason I remember this RPG because I played it and it's like really good. But like I just remember because of that one moment, how he just turned it off. He's like, snap. Like, yep, I'm gonna go home. You enjoy your dungeon again.
Yo,
Just
okay.
picturing Urza.
Let's change a
Bad
little bit
acting.
here. Angels of Resonance is asking, do you see your TCG as an RPG?
Not really.
I had to say I have seen some TCGs that remind me of an RPG. Um, there is one game right now that is Eternia. I don't know if you guys have heard of it.
No, a turn.
Is an RP is an
Is it by Bushiro?
no, it's by an American company. It's a
Uh,
I think it's a solo guy doing it. He's doing a Kickstarter next month. Um, this
okay.
game use the MOBA system,
Oh, I've heard of this one.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
and it works pretty well. I had to say, it works pretty well. Um, I have seen some games that are inspired by RPG where you have to level up.
Like Final
Uh-huh.
Fantasy, crappy card
Yeah,
game.
like Final Fantasy. Still, I think he meant more strategic RPG.
There was
I mean, to be fair, Yu-Gi-Oh is an RPG. All those players, X-Z
Mm.
summon.
Yo,
I
shut
mean,
up.
it's, sometimes you wish the person you were playing was an NPC.
Yeah.
Nah, but
Uh,
but yeah, I seen some games.
Legend of the Five Rings. It's kind of RPG
Yeah,
ish.
Is that good? I was thinking about getting in.
It's
Buying
it's
it.
it's good. It's expensive right now, I believe, because they stopped producing it.
yeah, and I believe it's an LCG right now. They're
Yeah,
LCG.
it used to be a TCG and it became an LCG
Yeah,
because
I know. I was thinking about just getting. Go on. I'm sorry.
yeah, but it's really good. It's really
Okay.
really good, and the art's actually pretty good too.
Well, it started pretty awful.
Oh yeah, it started pretty off, and then they had like the one deck everybody had to buy, the Scorpion Ninjas.
Yeah.
You didn't have the Scorpions, you were not winning a game.
So yeah, I see these. There are some games that works. Kairos game works as a TCG. I
You
mean,
beat
as an
RPG.
RPG. I'm sorry. Yeah. Um, there you have it's like strategic. You have to move your creatures, and they have they have they have specific movement. They have how you say reach. They have some reach they can attack into. So yeah, I've seen some of those. Some of those. Even his game, Angels of Resonance, game. They have
His beautiful art.
Yeah, it has beautiful art. I love the fact that you turn the card around and it's dead.
Yeah,
You
that's probably
see
one of
the
the things I
art
like too.
of
I said
dead.
the art of the thing just demise. Like, yep, you know what happened to that?
Yeah, I love that. You turn the card around and it's dead.
Yeah, no, his art's pretty good too. It's really amazing. I like the art,
Yeah, I like the art too.
and I also like
Um,
the little box it comes in.
and you see in his game you also have movement and all this stuff. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, I seen some games like this, like Kiroh's game. But basically, most of them, I have to say, most of them are an LCG. I never seen a TCG that works on this way.
True, true. Yeah, it's very original too.
What's happening now? We're talking about.
I
Oh, he
I
back from
want
what? Oh,
I just wanted to ask, what do you think if for
dude,
someone that's designing a card game,
can
what do
we
you
take
think is the best route for them to go, like
can we take a
TCG or
moment for to realize that Ken Nipple took almost 30 minutes to hydrate himself?
he was he probably fell asleep.
I was like, how many gallons of water you drank?
Oh man.
That was a
That,
long drink. Yeah, it was.
yeah, that was
My
he
boy was
probably
thirsty.
he
Yo,
probably
he had
drank the
to
whole.
he had to get dressed, get out of his house, walk 30 miles to the river, get water, filter it, come back and drink it.
He drank the river at this point.
No, when he come back, he will be thirsty again. So he has to come back with the water.
I know he drank the river literally.
Still, what was you saying, Mango?
For someone that's getting into creating some type of card game, is it best? What is the best route for them to go, TCG or maybe an expandable card?
TCU
And
what?
like, what are
Oh,
the problems when trying to do like
TCG
both?
or what?
expandable. The XCG, the LCG.
Oh, LCG. It depends on how solid your base is. Yeah, we're listening, Kinipa. Gotta stay hydrated. What are you, a water elemental?
I gotta stay hydrated. Jesus, he's
Start
a
with
water
index
type.
card. Make the game that you make.
Yeah, start with index card, make the game that you would play. Yeah,
Catch the
like
keepo.
I'd say like it also like if you have your mechanics and how your game works all ready, and you demo them like or you use them, kind of fix them till you get to a point where what you wanna, but the card game it's at a level you like, then the mechanics will tell you which one you want to pick.
Yeah.
Because like if you have like a game that has like for example like Kai's Astrom Cross, like the game has a lot of mechanics and a lot of keyword cards. So as an LCG, it would not really work because the instruction manual would be like 60 million pages long. Because you gotta explain all of them at once, and then you
Yeah.
have to include all the cards at once too. But as a TCG, even though you're still gonna need like 17 million pages to explain it, you feed them three at a time. For example, like a set comes out and it has 4 keywords,
Yeah.
and people learn those keywords. Then the next set has those 4 keywords and 3 more, and people are used to the first 4. And then you add 3, and by 3 years pass by and all the mechanics are being introduced, and people are used to playing those mechanics. And LCGs, you
Yeah.
have to add mechanics that are a little more because you expect people to pick the box, play the game, then put the box away, and when they want to play it, come back to it, but they don't want to remember all the mechanics.
Yeah.
So
I
they
get you.
usually, yeah, they usually more simple, and you have like Angel's Renaissance too. You have index cards that you see on certain games that tell you some of the mechanics and how they go, because you're not gonna remember them because you don't play this every day.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, like, it comes down to like how far along you've taken
Hmm.
your creation.
Yeah, and on my opinion, also it has to do also with the set. If you have a game of 50 cards, you will make a TCG with 50 cards. You know, it's like I believe the LCG is the best route.
Forza Will made a set where it's just a 50 card set.
No,
It was a
okay.
terrible set. It
Yep.
almost killed the
Forza will
game.
make a game, make a set of 60 cards, but it also have 40 reprints, which is the difference here.
Yeah, but
Mm,
see, but if that was an L like a legacy card game, then it would have had no reprints.
Yeah. Oh, and another thing, he were they were heavily backlash. Reason for this is that they don't even put green when the first set came out. They make all the other colors but green. And they put
what?
a little bit of red, I think it is, or blue. I don't know.
Why? What? That makes no sense.
I know. Then this sex is coming out, and they have blue, green, white, and red. Black, there's a few cards, but it's like basically nowhere. So this is why they were heavily backlash.
Because
Yeah.
they're not supporting all of it.
Yeah, they split a set in two, and then they simply add
Some
reprints.
reprints.
Oh, and they add reprints that you cannot use, which is why they're heavily backlash.
Yeah.
You cannot use
What?
these reprints. The every reprints you use, every card you use nowadays have to have the a little symbol on the top, which means that they are, you can use them. If they don't have
Yeah.
that symbol, you cannot use them, and these cards doesn't have those symbols.
So the
And this is the new set, right? With
Yeah,
those
these are the new sets.
Memoria cards.
so
Yeah.
not having the symbol just means a legacy.
That's so weird.
So not having the
Force of
symbol,
Will is
what?
so weird. It's like it's dying, but then it gets revived. It just doesn't
It's for so
like.
yeah. It dies because the people that are publishing it don't know what the hell they're doing.
No, it dies twice, but it dies once, another company buy them, and it dies
That's what I'm
again,
saying. Like
another company buy them again.
the company that
No, it was
for so
still the same. When it died the first time, it was still the same company. They just fixed everything that they did before,
Yeah,
and then something happened again where they had to sell to this new guy that they have now.
no,
But the
they
game
have
just still
sold.
doesn't
No,
want
no,
to.
they have sold the company twice. They have
I
changed
think
company twice.
I think the biggest problem is that they spend all their budget on art.
Yeah, art for them it costs a lot, and is understandable. The game comes in Japan, and have you seen the art on those cards?
Yeah,
Every
that's what I'm
card
saying.
game that comes in Japan have amazing art.
Actually,
Yeah,
like I think the like what was it? Live Idol, I think it was a card game. It wasn't even a card game. It was like collectible cards, and
Uh,
these cards look like actual cards for a card game.
Sekiro dies twice. What is Sekiro?
Sekiro dice.
I think I hear that name before.
isn't that like a
Yeah,
video? I don't play video games too.
Shadows died twice. Sekiro's it's the Souls game that came out last year or the year before.
Uh,
Telling me you don't. What do you mean you don't know Sekiro?
I
yo.
don't know
Oh
Sekiro.
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I play video games, but barely.
I
Like
got
I
it. I
just
got
play Minecraft lately. But
it. I thought it was Sekiro. It dies twice, and it
Yeah,
was
Sekiro. Shadows
Shadow
died
dies
twice.
twice. Yeah,
Like he's saying like Force of Will died twice, like Sekiro.
yeah, yeah. It does. It did.
I mean, he's dying a third time too. I'll wait till
Yeah.
it's on.
I mean,
I'll wait till it's on Walmart clearance bin for 20 cents. I'm gonna go buy all the cards.
no, it's gonna die because
So I'm saying when he
these
died.
deck boxes are like mess up.
Mhm.
Like
How,
right now, I
how
would love
do
to
they have
go
the?
to Force of Will, but I can't.
I wanted to buy the King Arthur bucks. I think it was the King Arthur bucks,
yeah. Another thing, like,
but it was
what
too
do you
expensive.
guys I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I said it was too expensive, and nobody plays Force of Will here.
Yeah, that's
It's
another
a fun
thing.
game.
Is you have to go to specific places to play Force of
Or
Will.
you can
Yeah,
go to on tap and play it.
Eh,
but it's not the
eh.
same as playing with the physical.
I mean,
It's like every game, dude. You go to Untap, and yes, you might have fun, but when you go to a physical, when you do it
yeah, when
physically,
you can punch the opponent when he beats you.
Yes, man.
Like, you did what to me?
when you can flip the
Oh,
table when he's winning, I'm not playing
Exactly.
this game anymore.
When
physically socializing just feels better.
Yeah, I mean, on these games, yeah, it does.
What do you guys think about how?
Just like that, just like that.
notice that he has a Force of Will playmat on the
Oh,
right
it
side.
is, it is.
Yeah, they're playing Magic, but those are Force of Will playmats.
Yeah.
What do you guys feel about Force of Will's like thing? I'm not
What
sure if
thing?
they're still doing it now, but it's like their whole thing about making a card game be more affordable.
Be more what?
Affordable.
Affordable.
I mean,
Yeah.
I think card games should be affordable.
I think the problem with card games is TCGs in particular. It's like if you cannot draft the cards, then they're not affordable because you gotta be going for the chase rares. You always
Yeah.
want the rare because the rare's always better than the commons.
That's
Now, if
why
you
it's refreshing to listen. That's why I mean, I am sorry to go back to my game, but that's why I am adding 3 rares to the packs, because that way I know it's 250 cards, but you get 3 chance to get what you need in a pack. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm adding three rares
see,
on a pack.
like a while ago, we're helping design a card game.
Hmm.
We were always wondering if the rare card should be rare because it changes something from a common. Like, because for example, Kai's game, you know how he has warriors that are named.
Yeah.
So let's say you have a Halcon
Uh huh.
and she has 350 supports her normal card, and she's flying and she's a female.
All right.
And
Mhm.
then, all right, so that card exists,
Yes.
and there's a rare version of her that instead of having flying and 350 support has long range.
No, that's
Because
that's not gonna be it.
shut up, I'm like, telling
I
you,
think there should
I'm
be
not,
elementals
I'm
in
not,
the game
I'm not
that
saying
can.
you making that card. I'm saying that the card improve on the common, like a super rare card, is just a common card with a better situational ability.
All right. All right. All
Uh,
right. Okay.
Because since your game, like if you play one hawk and you cannot play the second one,
Yes.
then now while you're chasing for your 3 long range ones, if you ever get 3 long range ones, because they could be a rare, like a different hawk that you find,
Hmm.
you can still play the other two. So you always have 3 of that card because you need it on the deck for whatever reason.
Okay.
But I
Okay.
always, but I always wonder about the rare card being a like having some randomness to it. So like a rare card feels rare because
Okay.
like
Instead of okay, what you're saying that is that instead of adding to the card, just changing.
yeah, changing something from the card to make it different, but
Yeah.
the what makes it different makes it better,
Yeah.
and it's makes it rare because like
Yeah.
that word gets thrown around, but like it doesn't mean what it should mean. If something is rare, it's unique. It's almost one of a kind.
Yeah.
And then you go play somewhere, like you go play Magic, and everybody's deck has mythic rares. What's the point of the card being mythic rare? Is that to make money?
Yeah. I mean, in Magic the Gathering, I feel it. It is to make money,
Same thing
and
with
it
Yu-Gi-Oh.
is to yeah.
Like Yu-Gi is probably worse than Magic because at least in Magic some of the rares are playable. In Yu-Gi-Oh, like when you're trying to build like archetype, you're looking for those secret rares,
Yeah.
ultra rares, or whatever rares, or promotional cards that only come in boxes of $20.
No, I don't know. Vanguard is
No, he's saying
stupid.
add more, not take away. He's saying, I mean, not to add. He's saying to switch instead
Yeah,
of.
not that. Sorry, what I meant is like if you have a card that's good at the common level, just change something from the same card to make it rare. Like if you have a soldier that has 100 attack for 1 mana, then all of a sudden the rare one has 150 and he has 1 mana, but he loses something else somewhere that's not as important.
It is the same
Yeah.
card, but you can
It's
only
just
play one.
yeah, it's the same card. It just changes the stats a little, but it's a one-off. So it makes deck building more interesting because not everybody's gonna have the same decks. They might have the
Yeah.
same cards, but they're not the same decks.
Um, just in case, there is one game that is doing this right now, and it's Eternia. Um,
Eternia, but that's a phone game though.
huh?
That's a uh
That's the game that I talked to you is coming out now. It's the mobile one.
yeah, it's a mobile. That's what I was trying to say.
No, no,
It's
it's
not
not. It's
a
not. It's not on the phone. It's a TCG, but it tries to work as a MOBA. All right. The thing with this game is that you have your
It's an
main.
LCG.
Yeah, it's an LCG. You no, it is not. This is what I'm going to. I'm gonna explain it. The thing with this game is you have your main character. Then you have all these other characters which are called Eternians, and
okay.
they are different versions of the same character. You can put 4 copies of them in the deck. Now you draw into your card, and this is what they do to make it different. You got your main character, you draw into your deck, and you draw your deck, your cards. Now, you can only play cards that match that character.
Okay, so it's like
Like yeah,
UF UVS whatever.
no, no, not like that one. Like the
Like
like the game that the Richard Garfield created just a little bit ago,
Keyforge.
Keyforge. It's like that.
Oh my goodness.
You can play all the cards that match that
That one house,
that
whatever.
one that one character. Now,
Mhm.
you put them in play, right? You have 2 spots. You have one spot with 20, one spot with 20. You put them in play, and those are your fighters, different versions of the one you have over there. Now, you can also play the other characters, but you have to change your main character. You go into your extra decks, you put that one back, and you take another one and put it into the field. Now you can play the characters with that specific characters, which is like Keyforge is used. You can only play one house, then you can switch and play another house.
Yeah.
So basically, it's the same on that one on that end. But the thing that makes it MOBA is that how in MOBA you
There are
press
three. You
you
have the
The
lanes.
towers.
no you press one button and you have to wait until it fills up again to use the ability again.
Uh huh.
So in this game it's the same.
There's
You
cooldowns.
yeah, the cooldowns. You Once you use the wire, you have to wait until it refresh again. Now, if you had 3 warriors on your graveyard with the same name of the card, you can use the special ability on the card, and that will be when you cool down your max attack. So now you can use your max attack, and that's how it basically goes. You need your
Okay.
creatures to die in order to activate the effects on your main character, on your hero. So it works as a MOBA. The thing with this is, where I'm going is, you have the LCG, which will have all the cards. They won't have any rarity. But after you buy the LCG, you will also get packs. On these packs, you will get the same characters that you got on the LCG, but they will have something change. Maybe an ability that is more powerful than the other ability. It won't change on the power, But he was saying that maybe the abilities are gonna change a little bit. Maybe this one will have long range instead of having what was the word when you hide. Um, anyway, instead of having another ability, so it will be more situational. So which is that's what Ursa was saying. Like
Yeah.
he will have the LCG, you will have all the cards, but then you will have better cards in the packs, which then you will find your rare cards or whatever, and then you can change those rare cards with whatever it is with. So you will have one specific rare card to that you can change with the card that you already have on your deck.
No.
Yeah. Sounds about right. Yeah. I mean, I'm not looking at it from the business perspective, because the business perspective, the model you're using is the one, yeah, they're gonna spend the most money trying to find the best cards,
Yeah.
which is the reason why TCGs are the way they are.
Well, that's why I mean I am doing both. I am doing an LCG and I am doing a TCG. The reason why I'm doing this is because there's people out there who want to have all the cards. So that way, you can buy a box and it will have a one of every card. Or if you want to go, with the TCG, then you buy a pack. Or if you don't have money, if you don't have enough money to buy a box, you just simply buy a pack, and you pull from that pack. Maybe you have a deck already made, and you want to just change some stuff, so you buy a pack.
I guess.
I'm still thinking that the LCG will be a better route. It will be a better option, but you will only get one of. Why you will only get one of? Because you are talking about 150 cards. It's a long name.
Yeah.
If you will get 3 copies of it, we're talking about 700 and something. So
Yeah, but see, how much is the box?
that is to be determined. I don't know.
Okay, well, if you have to determine now, how much would the box be?
Yeah, I know it has to
I
be
know somebody
determined.
who's done that, and their box was $12.
Basically, I don't know. I will say the box won't cost one box won't cost more than $80. $80 is
Okay,
too much.
okay, let's say it's $80
Yeah,
for the box.
yeah,
The box has one copy of every card, and how many cards in total? 100.
200 and something.
Okay, say 250.
Yeah, 250.
And then the ratio between common and rares, and super rare, mega rare, and
No, the thing here is that they won't be shiny. They won't be whole hollows. Basically, most of the people who goes for the packs, they want the hollows.
okay, so you doing this is the Yu-Gi-Oh approach.
You will still get every card, not in hollow, not in full art.
That's what I'm saying. This is the Yu-Gi-Oh approach, where you get like you'll get the rare cards in their common form, which is the non-foil,
Yeah.
non nice version, and then the packs will have the
Well,
thingies.
yeah.
Like, I'm just saying, man. Just stating that it's the Yu-Gi-Oh approach. I'm
It
not saying
is
it's
not
bad.
the Yu-Gi-Oh approach because the Yu-Gi-Oh cards are broken, but yeah, I mean, yeah,
It's the
I'm
Yu-Gi-Oh.
using that because most of
It's
the
the
people
Yu-Gi-Oh
out
approach
there,
in a business model. Nobody's talking about.
well, nobody, no, I mean, if you want to have all the cards, you will go for this. That's what I mean. If you want to play the game, you will go for this.
I mean, if you wanna. I mean, the box offers you the best of the best value still. Yeah,
Yeah,
because who cares about shiny cards sometimes?
yeah, I know.
Just having all the cards, you can just make your decks and then go figure out what you want after that.
Yeah, I mean, you after that you can just trade
Yeah, buy a couple
or
packs
buy a couple packs, yeah, and get
and
whatever you
just
want.
finish it. Yeah, no, I understand. Make it more affordable too.
Yeah, specifically that's what I want to make it affordable for everyone.
That I think that's the biggest thing to attract people. Is
Yeah.
make it more affordable. The more affordable it is, the better for people to actually try it. Because who's gonna try something that's expensive as heck?
Yeah,
Is it going to be like
Unless you bundle them on
multiple
iPhones.
copies of the cards, or
It's
multiple
just
copies
one
of it.
copy,
Yeah, it's
one
just
copy
one
of all the
copy of
cards.
everything. Basically, if you want three
Mhm.
copies of everything, you have to buy three boxes.
Yeah, which is still like what?
Mm,
If it's
Still,
at 80 bucks a piece, $240 for three copies of every card. So it's
and
still
you have, yeah, you still have everything, which is better than buying packs and try to get everything. Which two
yeah,
hundred
like at $240 you buy the whole.
yeah,
You
you
had the
won't.
collection.
mm.
And for those who are hardcore players, there will be another option where everything is foil, but this will cost. This is a premium item.
Uh, the ultimate premium nerd item.
Yeah, so this is
Even the plastic on the box is foiled. The instructions are
The
foiled.
foil ugly
The,
foil playmats.
the tokens are foiled. The box it's foiled. Like when you pull the plastic, the foil plastic, the box is foiled too. Like behold, the ultimate shiny.
but yeah, this is what I have in mind for in my business blah, 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 prosperity, I don't know, however it's say that.
Oh yeah, that word.
Yeah. So
Wait, you mean perspective?
yeah, perspective.
Okay.
Yeah, make a game of the year set.
The game of the year set is so foiled that the sun burns. You get the box, you open the box, the glare just makes you blind for 7 days.
Yeah. Plus, in addition to this, I know I am a one man, creating this. Well, two guys. We're just two guys creating this. Um,
I mean, I'm not drawing, so it's
yeah,
literally
that's
it's a
basically
one man crew right
Don't you draw Earth?
that's basically the main problem. The draws, the art.
there. Yeah, the art guy.
So I know I cannot compete with card games out there. Releasing one set every 6 months, every 3 months.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I wasn't blessed with good fingers for drawing.
So in order to compete with them, it's about making the game refresh. So every 3 months, maybe we'll get out 25.
Yep.
Every 3 months, every 6 months, we'll get out 25 mini sets. You get 25 cards, you get one ancient, and boom, support for the set. And that way,
Yeah.
you keep your people. You keep it how you call this excited. You keep him waiting for the next thing. So
Yeah. I mean, again, as long as the game's sustainable,
yeah,
as long as the first set can sustain itself, then it builds from it.
yeah. So I don't know. That's the plans I have. So it's a little bit of everything, like the box
Yeah.
on the Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, the briefcase on Pulp Fiction when they open it just shines,
Yeah.
just like that. We're gonna
Gives
have
a glowing light.
Mike Myers voiceover saying "I like go" when you open the box.
Well, anyway, we've been doing this 12:15, so we've been doing this for 3 hours now. So let's stop it right here.
Okay.
Um, so I guess that's it for today's podcast. Uh, we
Yeah.
will we will see you guys on the next time. Warriors
See you
out.
next. See you later.